Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the final day of the High School Esports League Nationals event. Tonight, we are going to crown new champions across so many different titles here as we close out 2022. We've got Dor, we got Pulsable back for the final day of action. And gentlemen, we come in to Championship Sunday with 4 of our 5 MVP candidates all playing for trophies tonight, Paul.
It's ridiculous what these guys have been able to accomplish. Honestly, that's why they're our MVPs, right? Not only are they good outside of the game, but they're all almost all championship caliber. We'll be seeing one in Valorant later tonight. Do want to give a shout out, of course, to our one MVP who wasn't able to make it here, Pele Bufo. We know just how good this guy is and how good he is outside of the game too. And of course, also over in Call of Duty, guys like Belal, just putting up massive numbers, honestly.
Yeah,
It's
Lions,
been
Goofy,
awesome,
and
Dor.
CJ as well. They've been floating around Rocket League. R6, goodness, the R6 scene so far has been insane. That bracket's going great. We'll have touch-ins with the COD and Rocket League brackets as well as we go on through the night. Like we mentioned, though, Pele's out, but it's not the last we've seen of him. We got a couple clips for you guys later of him as well. So I think everybody gets to be touched on.
Right? Every MVP is going to be in action in some form tonight. So pumped to get to it. If you're just joining us, though, let's remind you all what's going on with our MVP. This was an opportunity for each school to nominate one of their players for an MVP award. Students were judged on not only their esports accomplishments, but what they did in school and what they've been doing outside of the high school in their communities. Incredible stuff across the board, and most of our MVPs all coming in with near a 4.0 or higher GPA. And our winner will be crowned tonight, walking away with a $1,000 scholarship and a brand new gaming PC as they head off to college. It's such an awesome prize and a well-deserved one for whoever is going to take it home tonight, Dor.
Yeah, that's right. You guys want to stick around because that MVP comes after our grand finals and even through the grand finals. We have a ton of stuff lined up for you. Like we said, tons of different esports going on right now. We'll be checking in with as many as we can. So big stuff for the broadcast.
It's going to be a great evening of action, and we are here for it all. On the Valorant channel, though, we are going to be focusing in on some Valorant gameplay tonight, and we have had an insane bracket, insane year of Valorant competition, Paul, and we should catch everyone up because some of the favorites from our fall and our spring championships, they're still in it. And last night, we saw a banger of a showdown, Lake Braddock and Hebron, round 3. This one went the distance.
Yeah, down in that lower bracket, it was a spicy matchup, a rematch too of the fall semester grand finals. So it was going to be very contested. We expected it to go to the distance, and that game definitely delivered last night off of stream. We even got some clips from each of those different maps to catch up these fine folks that are joining us here today, Puckett. It's super exciting. Map 1, I believe, was Breeze. Yeah, and this one is where Braddock, or actually, no, it was Haven, apparently. This is where they really came out swinging.
Yeah, we saw a great opening as the pistol round, of course, went to K-Tran and the crew. Boofa Pete Pele is no longer in the tournament, but he put on a show in this opening game of Haven. Yeah. The Neon, we questioned it when we saw it yesterday, Dor. He put her to work in this game.
Yeah, it didn't look too hot yesterday. It looked like they cut the legs off. The sliding wasn't quite looking as good as it is in this game. But here, he just looks angry. He looks like he's come back with a vengeance. And you'll notice a pretty distinct pattern as we go on through these maps of pretty intense score lines either way. Boofa Pete, so opening that up and really showing us his prowess after a bit of a slow start earlier on in the night.
Lake Hebron taking early control, and they didn't look back in this one. That was a 4K for Pele, and well, his teammates chimed in with some big multi-kills of their own. The Cypher Tragic doing work on the opposite side late in the game, but at the end, we're going to see Pele once again ending the game, this time not with an ace, but it's good enough for 25 plus kills and a map 1 victory. Map number 2, after going 13-2, we saw the complete opposite. Breeze seemed to be a big issue for Lake Braddock, either that or a huge strength for Hebron.
I mean, it's crazy. Like, the first map is like a Pele Buffa highlight reel. This second map is K-Tran, but it's mostly Ritzy, honestly. Ritzy just tears through Lake Braddock. Our entries, our duelists in the HSEL for Valorant are just insane. Look at that clean kill off the information there. Boofa Pete trying to answer back, but I mean, it's just absolutely nuts. Here's Tragic getting revenge for the fact that he wasn't able to clutch that last game either in the 1v2, taking this 1v2 instead, much more important one, with a nice little swap to the tour de force. These two teams are so evenly matched, despite the fact that these are such incredibly one-sided scorelines for our first two maps.
Yeah, you have to wonder what would have happened if they actually got a chance to flip Sizer. That was an 11-1 half, totally in control of Hebron. When we went to game 3, though, Door, this is what the fans wanted. We wanted a series to go the distance, and it delivered. We went to overtime with everyone from both squads shining at times.
Yeah, and this is what we wanted, right? We talked about the extreme scorelines of the first two maps and how iffy Breeze has been for the past 3 days now. But here, we just got straight up Valorant. Ascent really does give the teams opportunities to shine in numerous ways, right? Whether it comes to individual plays like we're seeing right now from K-Tran. About to dump somebody, I would imagine. That third tries the charm. Not to mention Boofa Pete picking up a 3-piece in the midst of all that round. And this one was quite the wild riot. Even despite the close scoreline, you can see at the top of your screen, it's 10-2 right now.
Yeah.
This gets taken into overtime.
That's the second day in a row that Braddock started 10-2 on Ascent.
We didn't see it coming in. We didn't want to see it last night. We hated to see it as they went to the losers bracket finals, but then they gave us hope, just like they did on the broadcast yesterday evening. Pele and the rest of the crew bringing it all the way back from 10-2 to 12-12 as we hit overtime. And we saw some great plays from the Sova coming in, some clutches on both ends. At the end, it was Hebron closing it out. And I have to ask you, Paul, who do you think is the scariest player now from Hebron coming into our championship Sunday? They were able to take out their rival. Now they got a chance against Brooklyn Tech for revenge from the upper bracket.
That's such a tricky question, Puckett, because you've got like our MVP candidate of Goofy, you've got their insane duelist of Ritzy, you got guys like Rhythm still on that squad too. It's such a well-rounded and scary team overall. Hebron definitely earned their rematch against Brooklyn. These guys faced off over in the upper bracket semifinals. It was 2-1, pretty close game there as well. Now they get another chance to try and grab that title.
And there you can see the matchup from the second round of the upper bracket set up again in our grand final. Hebron's going to have to beat Brooklyn Tech twice. It's double elimination, Door. Do you think they've got enough gas in the tank? Did they show you enough last night?
Look, man, there's a long road, but I'm looking at a couple of matchups here. Whoever's taking on Siwa, whether it's Ritzy or what, and then the IGLing has to be on point. We're talking about a series that could potentially go this long. You need to be ready to go the distance in terms of maps, in terms of strats. And so IGLing up against the likes of somebody like Brooklyn Tech's IGL, I believe it was Septico yesterday, who was just doing a phenomenal job, both finding impact frags and calling for the team. We saw that Haven game was just a masterclass in rotates and timings and making sure the team's playing fast and reading the opposing side. You've got to be able to match that.
We're going to be able to see both of these teams in action a little bit later tonight. We'll talk about them more then. But for now, we got to switch gears. We're going to Call of Duty after that. But a quick reminder, we've got giveaways here at the HSEL. You could be walking away with some in-game cash. 25 bucks in map 1 will be dropped off, 25 more in map 2. And if we go to those deciders, a $50 bonus for the chat. How do you win? You just got to hang out, hit that follow button, and stay active in the chat all evening long. We've got tons to talk about, including the Call of Duty bracket, HSEL, chock full of games, Call of Duty highlights on the other side of this commercial break. We're back with the HSEL Nationals, and there is a look at your Nationals bracket for Call of Duty Vanguard. The top 8 high school teams making their way into the double elimination, and this evening, we get a chance to see some of the best gameplay from Gainesville as well as Crestwood. And we talked about Crestwood all weekend long. Bilal Badoun, he's been putting up numbers coming into the tournament. His team a favorite. They had the confidence and they had the numbers to back it up. Look at that Crestwood on the left side of the bracket. They went through Buckhannon. They took down Burnsville. Another 3-0 over North Shore. And that set up a grand final against Gainesville with Crestwood coming in, not dropping a single map.
I mean, if you're Gainesville, how do you go into this grand final and not be like shaking in your boots, right? You got to be the first team to not only take a map off of Crestwood, but also somehow beat them in that best of 7 grand final for Call of Duty. It's not a task that I envy.
Let's take a look at some of the highlights here, Dor. Call of Duty, it is fast and furious, and I don't know if there's anyone in the high school world that can keep up with the pace we saw from Crestwood. They came in with a 9-0 record into this final. They opened up with a Game 1 victory. It was a nice 250 finish as they held their opponents under 200.
Yeah, look, I don't know much about COD. I'm all about Valorant, but I do know a little something about Gainesville, as I've lived in Florida for far too long. And ever since Team Tebow left, it just hasn't been the same. They put up a good fight, but man, was it just such an impressive finals coming out from the other side. And like you said, those scorelines were so definitive on top of the 4-0 finish. You just have to give your hat to them.
You saw the hard point going in favor of your Bravo squad. That was Crestwood. And Mr. Bilo on your screen was one of the players to watch, putting up a 3.0 KD, I believe, in this one. They went in to impress in Search and Destroy as well. The blowout, 6-0s throughout this series. And Paul, it just seemed like Crestwood, this is a squad that was dialed in. The comms were there. They knew where their opponents wanted to come from. They executed their Search and Destroy like a professional Counter-Strike squad.
I mean, they're hunters, right? Look at them zip around. I mean, you know, I'm in the same boat as Dor with not being super familiar with Call of Duty, but the way they zip around the map, they just anticipate pretty much every single gunfight. And even in that last one, you could tell that they were playing off each other and communicating very clearly as to where everybody was on the map. So that kind of crisp communication in a fast-paced game like Call of Duty, it's no surprise that they finished the entire championship bracket without dropping a map.
Can we take a look at this bracket one more time here in a moment? Because I just want everyone at home to appreciate what Crestwood accomplished in Call of Duty. This is a national championship, and you had a perfect finish. 3-0s all through the winners bracket. The final was a 4-0 over Gainesville. Ridiculous perfection to be seen at this high school level. And look at the difference in the lower bracket. Their opponents, Gainesville went to Game 5 against North Shore. Gainesville went to Game 5 against Burnsville.
Oh my
Crestwood
gosh.
beat all of these teams 3-0. No one is close to the top dogs in Call of Duty, and some of these players are returning here to continue their high school career in Call of Duty 2023.
Yeah, I thought it was
shout out
super
to
interesting that you brought
Gainesville.
up the pace of play.
I was just going to say, literally
Yeah,
map 5 in every
for these
single
teams.
game.
Yeah, well, getting there is a tough enough challenge in itself. But once you get to that grand finals up against Crestwood and you're just getting blitzed left, right, and center, it's a really hard matchup. But it does mirror a lot of what you're seeing in Valorant as well, with Brooklyn Tech just coming out of the gates with the pedal through the floor, ready to take on pretty much any opponent they come across. Crestwood's doing the same in COD, and I would imagine it's the same in a lot of these other esports where really getting out of the starting gate fast is the name of the game.
HSEL Nationals, we have so many games to celebrate, and I got to keep us moving, gentlemen, because right now there is a live matchup going on with Poly Prep taking on Cali Connections, and this is a showdown in Rocket League that a lot of people in the chat were asking about. Well, yeah, the Man Lions, Mick Snyder, one of our MVP candidates, on your screen going for a goal here. It looks like the final 17 seconds trying to tie this one up to force OT.
This is crazy close. Are you kidding me? This is wild right now for Poly Prep. And keep in mind, Poly Prep, they've been winning quite a bit. No way they make that shot, surely. Okay.
Poly Prep doesn't get it in here, gentlemen.
Hold up.
It's gonna hit the ground. And that means this series is tied up 2-2. They're going to a Game 5, all knotted up in your Nationals Grand Finals. We are so
Wild.
blessed in high school esports tonight. I can't wait to get into Valorant because if it's living up to the hype we're seeing across these other titles door, we are in for a good one.
I think that's all on Hebron. Honestly, as much as we came into this looking at Brooklyn Tech, we knew less about them. They weren't quite the same stories that we expect out of Lake Braddock, Hebron, and no, Brooklyn Tech's the team to beat. And Hebron has got to make it a match. You want something competitive, you want something going all the way through, you want something to go the distance. It's up to Hebron to play to their absolute maximum tonight because they're going to need every last bit of it.
Well, Paul, we do got to talk a little bit about the Valorant matchup because that's what everyone sees at the top of the screen. That's what everyone in the chat is talking about right now. What's going to happen? Hebron is here. Yes, Hebron fans, we see you. We heard you yesterday when you won your loser bracket semifinal before that matchup against Lake Braddock. Now you got a chance to earn another trophy, but in your way is Brooklyn Tech, a squad that was shining last night. They crushed one of the fastest series we've seen here at the HSEL, and they have to be, I think, the favorites coming in despite the numbers previously. If you're looking at recency here, Paul, this has been the most consistent one-sided squads of the event.
I mean, Brooklyn Tech have been performing really well just in general, right? Not only did they beat both of our quote-unquote favorites in this bracket, they 2-1 Hebron already, and then they slapped Lake Braddock in that upper final, but they were also a finalist in our spring season too. So this is a squad that, even though they only came in during spring, have looked nothing but good the entire time we've had them for HSEL. So they're absolutely the team to beat, and I think it's going to be a hard task for Hebron, especially when we consider how different Brooklyn looked in their recent game versus Braddock compared to that spring final where it was neck and neck on both maps and they just barely lost. Brooklyn is a team that will adapt and learn from every match, it seems, and that makes a difficult task for Hebron.
From runners-up in the spring to potential nationals champions, let's introduce the squad from the Big Apple. It's Brooklyn.
Hi, my name's Landon. I go by Septico. You'll see me on mostly KO, maybe some Sky, maybe some Breach. I'm also the IGL for the Brooklyn Tech Engineers.
Hey, my name is Samuel, and I go by Cool Username, and I play the Initiator role for the Brooklyn Tech Engineers.
Hi, my name is Felix, and I play the Sentinel role for the Engineers.
Hi, my name is Sim. I also go by as Eco, and I play the control role for the Brooklyn Tech Engineers.
Hi, I am Edward. I go by Siwa, and I am the main duelist on the Engineers Valorant team.
Hi, my name is Devin, also known as Tall Frozen Doggy, and I play Phil for the B-Tech Engineers.
Our IGL is Septico. I know he goes hard on us in game, but we all know that he's just really competitive and wants to win, and so do we. We really believe that we've tried our hardest, and that's what makes this team really fun to play with.
Look behind you, see what's there. I think instead it's Septico there, right along.
Siwa got all the highlights last night, but Septico deserves so much praise for what the Radiant in-game leader has accomplished for his high school team. 4 sophomores coming in from Brooklyn Tech, and the young one, Septico, he's done a great job on the calls, Paul. We have been so impressed with what he did last night.
It's crazy how young this Brooklyn team is and how smart they are when it comes to the game of Valorant. I mean, in terms of gunfights, in terms of rounds, a lot of what we saw last night was close. But the reason that we got drastic scorelines of 13-8 and 13-2 was because Brooklyn had so many early advantages in so many of these rounds. They outthought Lake Braddock for the majority of the game that we saw, and I have to imagine that a lot of it is because of this IGL of Septico.
Let's take a look at their accolades on the season door. Pretty impressive stuff here from Brooklyn Tech, and they mention it. This is the largest high school in the country. These are the 5 best Valorant players they could put on the field tonight.
They might be the best 5 Valorant players that we have here in the whole tournament. So I don't think that's too much of a surprise to expect them to be best 5 from their school. But Brooklyn Tech, like you said, have been putting up some really, really impressive stuff. And a lot of it due to not just Septico, but the entire roster being stacked. We saw insane plays from Siwa, Majestic Nuts, Eco with that super clutch 2K coming out of the lockdown last night. Was insane. And when you get into a grand finals, especially at the high school level, I don't think anything's more important than having that clutch factor.
Brooklyn Tech is only getting hotter as the tournament goes on, and the same can be said for their opponent. After dropping 2-1, Hebron's been on a heater through the lower bracket. Let's take a look at our fall champions.
Welcome to Hebron High School. We're a school located in Carrollton, Texas, a city just outside of Dallas, but it's many cities that feed into our school and many cities that call Hebron home. And historically, we've been known for having one of the greatest bands in the country. But this year, we're trying to add esports to the list. And if you don't mind, Connor, before we do the rest of the interview, I'm feeling a little thirsty, a little parched. Hold on. Thank you. You didn't catch that, by the way. National champs.
My name is Jackson Halverson. I'm a senior at Hebron High School. My gamer tag is Goofy, and during the matches, you'll see me playing the Initiators, Breach, Sova, or Kale.
Hi, my name is Dylan, aka Rhythm. I'm in 12th grade, and I play Sova for Hebron.
My name is Akshay Kandala. I go by Exit. I'm a sophomore at Hebron High School, and they'll see me smoking offsides.
Hi, my name is Kevin. I go by Tragic as my gamer tag. I'm a senior in Hebron High School, and I play Chamber as my agent.
My name is Brasson. My gamer tag is Vitsi. I'm a sophomore, and you'll see me on Duelist.
Schedule became kind of the hard part for this regular season.
Like Jackson went on vacation, I went on vacation. It was kind of a mess.
Which is why we didn't play as many games as other teams have.
And after losing to Lake Braddock and realizing that we needed to play as a team together, we started taking it a little bit more seriously.
So I feel like if we win this, it'll be like really good for the future players because, you know, like, oh my gosh, this is Hebron, like they won nationals.
If we win nationals, it'll prove like a lot to my parents, especially.
How much of an impact gaming can actually have, and it helps us realize that like esports is like actually the future.
I think it's going to be an easy sweep through the board like it has been for us.
We got to talk about the player for Hebron that was dropping numbers last night, Dylan Castillo, aka Rhythm. According to Caleb JTH in the chat, Rhythm's so hot right now. He was on fire last night, the initiator, pinging everybody on the Sova. His gameplay was so clean in that crucial game 3 to get them the win over the rivals Lake Braddock.
Yeah, and I mean, it better be when you're sitting across the aisle like someone from someone like Septico. It's going to be a pretty tough night for you no matter what, but leading, having good initiation is absolutely key, especially when you're talking about stopping a team like Brooklyn Tech. That early util is exactly what's going to stop those aggressive pushes that we're seeing time and time again last night. And having someone as high a rank as 90th Radiant on your team is certainly just a major help to whoever they are.
Paul coming into tonight. We also got to keep our eyes on Jackson Halverson. He goes by the name of Goofy. He was the first one in the chat to let us know that Hebron is coming. This squad, they've accomplished quite a bit this season. They went as our fall champions at the end of 2021, undefeated in the regular season, only dropped 1 map in playoffs. And then at the Spring Major, it looked like they were going to do it again until they ran up against Lake Braddock.
Yeah, Lake Braddock did get the better of them in that rematch, but now Hebron, after the lower bracket final, has a 2-1 scoreline against them, and they get to make national grand finals. So I think they can at Lake Braddock for that one, as they get a chance to be our #1 team throughout the entire year. And I mean, Goofy is a big selling point for this team. I think Goofy and Rhythm are great players to highlight because these are the guys who allow somebody like Ritzy to go forward and take all of that space, get those flashy plays that we saw from like our Breeze highlight reel from earlier, right? We saw those pings, those flashes. Ritzy was enabled to succeed because of 2 smart initiators backing him up.
I love that. Great call out there. It's not just the player in the kill feed that made the play happen. Let's take a look, though, at the final moments from yesterday, because this happened after we closed out our upper bracket finals. Some of you were already in bed while Lake Braddock was facing off against their opponents, Hebron. This was the game 3. And Jesse, actually, a little earlier in the tournament with a knife in the pack. These highlights are from kind of throughout this event, but great stuff across the board, and I think we're looking for some exceptional Valorant play. That overtime finish, though, from game 3 is what I'm hoping to see once again as we get down to the best of the best here at the high school level door.
Yeah, if you're looking for big finishes, not just is it fun to watch, but also it shows that good clutch potential from Hebron, which is, like I was highlighting earlier, something you're really going to need against a team like Brooklyn Tech. These highlights, though, they look really, really good. Breeze has been a solid map for them pretty much the entire tournament, as far as I know. Watch some of the head clicks like this in the tight moments.
This was the overtime map 3 in their first meeting, and it only got nuttier. Lake Braddock there with the ace from Bufa Pete Pele, one of our MVPs. He's in the chat as well. Shout out to Pele and the rest of Lake Braddock. I want to know, Pele, who do you think wins this? Is it Brooklyn Tech or is it Hebron? You had to watch both squads. I got to get the thoughts from one of our MVP candidates. Dort, can we get some thoughts coming into this matchup, though? Because I know you've been cast in some amateur Valorant. We've seen collegiate level. You've been doing a lot of the high school. How are these players stacking up, and what are some of the strengths you're looking forward to seeing this evening?
Well, for me, I'm looking at basically head-to-heads in every single role, at least to start out, right? If you're going to match a team like Brooklyn, you've got to be able to go toe-to-toe to them as far as aim is concerned. And right now, what we saw from Hebron, the highlights were good, but I'm waiting to see when it gets to the head-to-head, especially against players like Siwa and Majestic Nuts, who are coming up with big 2-3Ks very, very, very often. That's what you need to look out for as well. Hebron needs to be ready for those really cheeky plays that we saw time and time again. It was Brooklyn Tech hiding in corners, pushing smokes, doing just psychotic things left, right, and center, and getting a lot of value out of it because the other team wasn't prepared. So you need to play extremely clean Valorant in order to stop that. Check your corners, prep your strats, have everybody on their set angles, and be ready to trade out your kills because they're going to come fast.
We're hitting a new high here in the HSEL Esports chat. If you're brand new to the channel, do us a favor, hit that follow button. We are just getting started with what we're accomplishing here at the high school level of esports competition. And Paul, tonight, we got some stars to showcase on both sides of the field. When you're looking at an initial role, though, I know you like to look at it very analytically. Who do you think is going to be the key player on the map? Is it going to be a duelist? Is it going to be an in-game leader who's just making the calls? Who do you think could have the biggest impact on tonight's best of 3?
I think you could honestly pull for any one of these 10 players to be the one who can come out and have a massive impact. But the one I'm most interested in is, I think, going to be our Sentinel head-to-head, because I think that's where I have the most questions personally. We've seen Majestic Nuts. The dude puts up numbers. The dude locks chamber on almost every single map, and he clicks some heads, right? We don't know as much when it comes to Tragic and his tendencies. We saw him on the chamber a couple of times, but it was maybe a bit more feast and famine. I mean, admittedly, that match that we saw was feast on one map, Breeze, and famine on the other. So it might just be like a team differential thing, but when you have two players that really like to lock in that chamber play, it comes down to gunfights a lot of the time. It comes down to those early picks, those flank watches, and how much they can leverage that into map control.
I see the chat going crazy for Siwa. They just want to see more shorties.
I mean,
tonight.
yeah.
I'm down for it.
Bring
out
cool.
the
That's fair.
shorties.
That's fair. Siwa had a crazy game.
The op doubles, the shorty doubles, he can do it all, and we're going to see him in action in just a little bit. We've got our maps here going to be decided by our in-game leaders. This is a little bit of a rock, paper, scissors game here because you've played your opponent in 3 maps. The 4th one, you don't know what they're bringing to the table, but you're obviously not comfortable on Fracture yourself. Paul, is there any chance you think either of these teams let Fracture go through?
No, not on their life. No, we have not seen a single Fracture, I don't think, throughout our entire bracket, as far as I'm aware, because it's such a weird map, especially to play at like a high caliber in coordinated play. You need to spend so much time like doing homework on this map, and these guys have enough homework that they got to do to maintain these like 4.0 MVP level GPAs in the first place. They don't necessarily have the time to go into Fracture and analyze, you know, where they want to be pushing, what of the 18 different comps that are viable on Fracture do you want to use. I'm expecting it to get banned first time, no doubt. When I could not imagine we see Fracture. I give it less than like a 1 in 50 odds.
All right, I like that call. Well, Dor, yesterday you claimed you were the biggest map nerd on the planet. So how do you see this one breaking down? You've seen the squads. Who makes the picks? What are we playing first?
Look, I'm a map pick band nerd. It's like 0% chance that we get Fracture first, but I do think should a team get pushed up against the wall with one map, there is a slight chance that we see it let through just because only one team's getting the ban in each of those rounds following. So say a team wants to flounder and the other team's got a prio ban on one of the other maps, say they just really don't want to play Haven second or something like that after just getting done with Ascent. Maybe they don't want to take things to an IGL-centric map. Maybe they want to keep things a little closer quarters. They leave Fracture in and the other team says, hey, we lost first map pretty handily. We don't think we have much going our way. We're just going to throw it all out on the table and see where the dice land. I think that's when the opportunity that you actually ever really see Fracture being pulled out. But outside of that, I don't think it happens. I do like that our TOs kind of like they cheekily tried to force it. They're like, oh, you guys are playing a best of 3, but you only get 4 maps. Here's Fracture. Maybe you'll play it, but it just doesn't happen. I talked about it yesterday. It kind of trickles down from pros to collegiate to high school, and we're barely seeing it get touched in collegiate right now. I think Premier is like the only team playing it a lot, and they have like a 14-1 record on it. Yeah, it's absurd, but high school hasn't really touched it much yet. But that also brings up a really cool point, because all these students are preparing to go to college. They're looking for wonderful programs, not just the scholarship money, the $150,000 that were given out over the course of this weekend, but also the potential for scholarships in the future. You guys go on Twitter, go find Doc Haskell, go find Coachy, go find Adam Antor, all these amazing people running collegiate programs. Get them in here, get eyes on these players, because they absolutely deserve all the support they can get.
I love that call out. All of our players that are MVP candidates, they kind of have their choice of what colleges they want to go to.
Yeah.
And I think it's going to be a really interesting situation to see, who does Harrisburg offer that first contract to? Who does Northwood offer a spot on their Valorant team to after watching our players tonight? And keep in mind, you got a few years to scout this Brooklyn Tech squad. 4 of their 5 players still sophomores in this tournament. It's kind of nutty stuff. Let's take a look at the maps that are coming up our way. We're going to see Ascent. We're going to see Haven. I have a feeling in our first 2. I have a feeling Breeze could be map number 3. I'm hoping we see Ascent picked first, and it looks like that's exactly how things played out. How do you think this is going to shake out early on, Paul? Because last night, there was no defense on either side of the field.
It's very tricky, right? Because you have to imagine that after last night, that Brooklyn Tech has sort of reassessed their defense, and their attack looked really good. But their attack also only looked really good because they were well, not only looked really good, but part of the reason it looked good was because Lake Braddock was giving them tons and tons and tons of space. Whereas Hebron had a similar difficulty from what we saw, right? It was that 10-2 half to start out against Braddock, but then they got 10-2 themselves on the other way, only barely inched out Ascent versus Lake Braddock in overtime. So honestly, Ascent is a pretty even map for us to be starting on.
All right, well, here we go, gentlemen. The match is ready. It's a best of 3. Remember, Brooklyn Tech, they win 2. They are your national champions. Hebron looking for the bracket reset. Let's kick this thing off as we hand it off. It's Door and Paulsable on the call.
All right, appreciate it so much, Puckett. You have fun kicking back, relaxing, and watching the game while Paul and I get to break it all down. We saw this one yesterday. I think it's a great map to start on. I will touch one more time on the pick ban, though, Paul, before we get into this. I think it's super interesting how it's always gone down. The upper seed gets to ban a map that they actually want to ban, and then the second seed has to just kind of lick their wounds and ban Fracture. They don't want to leave it up to chance. That is the funniest thing to me. But that being tossed out, Brooklyn Tech did get the ban that they wanted. They got Breeze off the board, and that leaves Ascent here. Let's talk comps.
It's interesting that Exith is actually locking into this Astra early. We don't see much Astra. We talked about it a little bit yesterday, Dor, as this being one of the few maps that Astra is still definitely viable on. We saw her at Masters a little bit on Ascent, you know, players like Sugar Zero picking her up here. But Eco definitely going with a more modern pick, the more currently meta pick, right? And we know just how much Eco gets out of this Omen. Yesterday, the dude was insane.
Nuts,
he had
dude.
some hero plays. I'm thinking of that round 5 where he just tanked the lockdown for a 2K. It's insane what he's able to pull off. So definitely keeping my eye on Exith. We need to see value out of things like the Gravity Well.
Yeah, smoke-free smokes is a tough one, but when it comes to frags, Eco we keep touching on that one round. Eco just chatted up for a round, and we've been all over it ever since.
Yeah, honestly.
But on the other side, something else interesting that we should note: this is a chamber mirror for either side, so no killjoy. Something we talked about yesterday is like coming back to prominence, especially since chamber got nerfed a little bit. It's become, oh, what are we playing here?
Here.
Oh,
Here.
wait.
I think we're playing the Tech Pause game because
Pause?
that's
Look at
what's
him.
going on right now. We'll get into the game soon, guys. We just want to make sure all 10 of our players can get this series off on the right foot, right? We don't want to get them into this because it is a long best of 3.
Oh,
wait,
Paul, we're playing a game. We're playing a game. We're playing a game. Hold
are
up.
we?
It's red light, green light.
Oh,
Red
they're
light,
doing
green light.
Simon. Oh my God.
Hold up.
Hey,
drop the scoreboard.
You guys seen Squid
Scoreboard.
Game?
Oh, she was out. She was gone. A minute, bud, get out of there. Oh, Septico getting greedy.
Nah, man. I don't think he actually made that.
No, I think Septico's out there for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, yep.
For sure.
Oh, Majestic Nuts playing slow game. Oh,
He thought about it.
Teasing him. Oh, cool username gets greedy on the back end, and Majestic Nuts takes away red light, green light.
Okay, so now does Majestic Nuts get to be the no, they're gonna play a different game now. What are they playing now?
I don't know if we're playing anything.
about
I think we're playing a GOP game.
Are they doing
All right,
are
we'll
they
go
doing
back
like
to
the
the
cowboy
console.
dance, right? It looks like they're just trying to shoot Siwa and he's dancing around. It's like in old westerns when you shoot at somebody's feet and they just like hop around.
They got cool sprays, if nothing else. I think it's crazy though that we're not getting the killjoy that we saw yesterday. Because honestly, especially against a team like Brooklyn Tech, while we didn't see it do much, there was the opportunity for it to do a lot more. Like you would expect the answer to a team rushing you every single round and taking that space aggressively. The answer is a killjoy. We just didn't really see it be used to the highest potential. But I wonder if that did factor into Hebron's game plan at all. Is Hebron coming in and saying, hey, we're going to play our game plan, we're going to do what we're going to do, or are they trying to adapt to the Brooklyn Tech that they got a sneak peek at yesterday?
I'm pretty sure this is the comp that Hebron played yesterday on Ascent versus Lake Braddock. So I imagine this is just what they play on this map for their defense, right? So no big surprises. You do have to keep an eye on the chamber now after the nerf, right? With the trademark no longer being quite as strong. We're just going fast towards this B site. It's like you were talking about. Goofy's already gone.
Oh, it's a Sova though that's on the off angle. Rhythm is there, ready for the refrag, plays the player in Lever House. And with the help of the grenade, it means that basically nothing's getting in past that. Efficient trades for Hebron and a great stop to the early rush from Brooklyn Tech. Something we've seen every time they've touched this map. It's a B rush round 1, and no team has been ready for it up until now.
Yeah, great crossfire there between logs and like the inner switch. Nice catch too. That's the spike trying to cross through mid. So Siwa now gonna have to recover that, and Hebron, you know that Brooklyn Tech is heading all the way to A. The problem is you don't know how deep they've gotten into A already. There's no information on this side of the map. So Majestic Nuts in a really good spot to do some damage, but it's still only a 2v4 here, Dor, so he really needs to hit this first shot.
I mean, it's oh my god!
What a flick!
He got snapped on! His neck's just gone, dude. What just happened? This is not happening. 1v4. I would be mortified if I just watched that happen to my teammate, but not Siwa. He was ready and trying to clutch it out, but unfortunately, just a little short on the day. Ritzy cleans him up and gives him the bags round 1.
Just a little dip. He's stretching his legs, you know. Got to make sure you stay limber for our grand finals. What a round from Hebron, though. I mean, that flick from Rhythm was just nasty. That's a top 90 Radiant flick right there for sure. I mean, most of that round does come back to that crossfire because I think even if Rhythm doesn't hit that crazy shot, it's still a pretty difficult situation for Brooklyn Tech in that 2v4. You're looking for Majestic Nuts to trade for 1, maybe 2, and then teleport away back to the site to help Siwa. It's not going to be easy from
the out though, Paul. You have to imagine there's some sort of intimidation factor. Like, three members of your team are dead, and watching Majestic Nuts at that moment in time, all of them watched that happen. I'm not sure I ever want to walk in his direction again.
You're definitely keeping an eye on Rhythm. You're looking for those early lineups and trying to figure out where he is now. That's for sure. And Owl Drone actually used pretty early here from Catwalk, so
it's kind of worse though.
Vaguely know
that's good info.
where that is. You only see Septico, I think, so it's not tons of information, but it's enough for Hebron to act off of. They've got 2 players just watching for someone to cross tree. I mean, this is brutal for Brooklyn. I can't imagine they get much here unless some right clicks do Hebron dirty. Nice flash.
Driving hits too. They're ready for the second player in the corner as well.
Huge.
That's 2 guns recovered. The entire round's been flipped on his head, and Majestic Nuts gives him the beans. 1 more to exit Dome, and Goofy now gone. He's just 1 man for the job. Hebron and Siwa, a match made in heaven. We watched a 4K miraculously finish around last night. Oh no, pardon me. Mistaken,
And
it's Ritzy on the other end.
This is why we shout out Septico, right? Like, the dude's not putting up the biggest numbers in every single map, but that flash is massive brain. He knows that's where the Owl Drone has to have come from, and he just ruins the trap that Hebron were setting. You know, most of the time in a situation like that, you see the Omen smoke split off like Deep Garden and Tree, and then you have two Spectres there. You can spam and just ruin their day. But instead, Septico just creeps up, realizes that nobody's watching deep for someone to push into that room, and hits the perfect flash to flip the anti-eco on its head.
And it made it so difficult as well. Just the reaction for the Sova was really, really tight. So not getting that is kind of expected, but the way the team followed up as well, just as impressive. Everybody was ready to push those players, get the guns. They knew exactly what was going down after that. Not to mention the headshot that came through in mid that made that round that much more difficult. Ooh! Oh my God, Brooklyn Tech, relax, dude.
What? almost got the timing there with him. Next time, buddy. I mean, there's nothing you can do here either. What? Okay, there's something you can do here. I feel like these KOs are just messing with me now, Dor.
This game's insane. I'm watching just psycho push after psycho push. These players have zero regard for their own life, which I've got a massive respect for. Throwing their lives down the line for the better good. Unfortunately, not the better good of Hebron, who are now going to be feeling the pain as the economy is just not going to go their way for a hot minute.
Yeah, Hebron, I mean, now they're going to be able to buy up, right? We basically have a delayed bonus for Brooklyn Tech in this round. They're going to have a pretty decent amount of firepower to shut down Hebron here, and Hebron does not have much wiggle room when it comes to their economy. Tragic, there's no way you're buying it off right now. He's got enough.
Do it.
Light armor. I'm waiting for that op pick.
He's really thinking about it, isn't he?
Oh, he gave the op to another player. It's in Ritzy's hands.
Okay.
He bought the op for Ritzy here. Yeah, Owl Drone's going to escort Ritzy all the way up too. Oh, does it clear that right angle though? Ritzy's holding very 50-50. Deep.
It doesn't know about the right side.
You heard the gun.
I think they got the dash out. That is extremely fortunate. But now you give a mid control for that because Exit had to rotate. There's nothing covering this. The trademark pretty deep in market, but that's going to be late info.
It's not even the trademark. It's actually the
rendezvous
coming over. So Majestic Nuts wants to try and, or not Majestic Nuts, but Tragic rather, wants to try and TP in to aid this scenario. But first you're relying on the contact from Exith, and this can get really dicey. It's a really cool trap play if Exith can survive and if nobody else is looking toward market. Ooh, the angles are so dicey though.
Oh, Exit, this is...
Now they're just in.
The opportunity. This cuts it off though really well. If you get just one of these players, not quite what you're looking for. Exit just misses on the timing, unfortunately. Now quick in. Brooklyn Tech coming in with that all-out blitzkrieg like we're expecting them to earlier. Rhythm through the smoke though, does manage to pick up one. Now it's a 5v4 on the retake.
Yeah, good spam through that smoke there from Rhythm.
30 seconds left.
It gives Hebron a chance. They managed to at least all survive for this retake. They don't have any ults. There's no one in B main, though. I don't think Hebron are aware of that, but it's going to be super helpful as long as they can push onto the site quickly. One flash remaining for Goofy right now. He's got to choose when to use it.
Tricky, because they are still... Oh, that sucks. Oh, that sucks even more. Oh,
hello?
No, they're being lit up. Holes put through them like Swiss cheese in the smoke. A flash through is a desperate cry from Goofy, and it's just not happening. Brooklyn Tech clean them up, and they couldn't even see their faces while they were doing it.
Bro, Seaward channeling his inner Luke Skywalker, turned off his targeting computer and just let the Force guide his bullets there. Holy moly, that was 2 spams through the smoke. No like audio information, no pings from like your Sova there.
He smelled them, dude.
Timing, game sense, and perfect crosshair placement. That's nuts.
Yeah, maybe a little BO from Hebron. Maybe that helps you sniff them down. I'm honestly not sure. Yeah, it's just I'm not sure. There had to be something gotten those bullets. It wasn't just luck, I'll tell you that much. Brooklyn Tech still on the attack here. They're gonna gain a big eco. We talked about that being effectively the late bonus for them. So the fact that they won that, it means Hebron's econ is even further down the toilet.
Yeah, definitely a rough start for Hebron here. Not much of a gamble stack either, so they don't have that same advantageous crossfire that we saw in the pistol round, which stopped the B take then. Nice shot from Tragic. At least trades out his buddy. It's good to trade, you know, a pistol for an actual rifle in scenarios like these. I don't know about that swing, buddy. You were fully blinded on that one.
Okay.
Tragic's hitting heads, though.
Oh, we're kind of gaming. Oh, we've got bullets 1v1 now. I think there's there's got to be a recoverable gun somewhere here. Is there?
I mean, it doesn't even matter. I think Goofy actually has a sheriff here, right? So he should just be able to put one body into Eco at this point.
And with the spike up on highway, it's so difficult. This is a great position for Goofy to play. This is exactly where you want to be. Got the smoke. He's not ready around the corner, but Goofy's there with the flick. That's your MVP candidate coming up big for Hebron.
What a ridiculous round. I can't believe the shots that Hebron just hit there. They had no right. They had absolutely no right to win that round,
That was what,
dude.
3
But
heads to
between
start it
Goofy
off?
and Tragic? Yeah, honestly, right? I mean, Tragic just unbelievable shutting that down. Not only getting the entry player, but then a second pick when they start moving toward the site relieves pressure onto Rhythm. A little bit of a miscommunication too, because Rhythm's position was actually known. They spotted him. They knew he had to be in the exact corner where he just jumped from now, right? That close sight corner on the box. But they just let that slip a little bit away, and now he gets the easiest spam of his career.
Eco straight up not having a good time right now. Did they spot Rhythm? They have to, right? Yeah, they know. Exit there to trade one out. This is the third member for the Whiskey one, though. You're not 100% sure if Ritzy's here. They will take him down, but it's trades across the board. Null Command is available for Hebron should they want to use it, but that's a tough call that only they can really figure out for themselves. Tragic here with 3 to force, though. With a quick end to this round with 1 bullet. Fortunately, just doesn't pull the trigger in time.
It's hard for Tragic to actually enter through market, so he has to wait for Goofy to come around. Goofy's probably going to have to use this flash on this close corner. No, okay. The smoke actually alleviates a little bit of pressure. Now he can flash the site. This is huge, especially as Septico gets found on the other end.
Oh, see, no, you're not expecting him to have already come down highway. They hear the drop, though.
Woo!
Trying for a flick. Siwa's got no idea where it's coming from.
Goofy
again, 2 rounds in a row. Undefeated in the 1v1. Just dices up the remaining members of Brooklyn Tech.
What good positioning. What good awareness from Hebron on these retakes. These B retakes are just nasty. I'm not going anywhere near B now if I'm Brooklyn Tech, right? Not after Goofy has just waltzed back onto the site these last 2 rounds, dude. That's nuts. Brooklyn Tech at least still have some money, so they'll get to keep playing close here, and they've got some good ultimates too, right? Like the Hunter's Fury coming in for cool username, so you can use that to get a little bit more confidently. They're trying B again, Door.
You know what? I would quote the definition of insanity, but these are high school students. I don't think they care. Ritzy around the corner has the impact position. Both out. Bladestorm. It's not as impactful of a position, I'll be completely honest. Brooklyn Tech waltz in here, and with the help of a knife, just shut down the whole thing.
Yeah, that 0 point was huge. Great read there from Brooklyn Tech. Oh. Aldron spots 1 too. Oh, I thought Majestic Nuts was gonna find that. He's stuck in this corner now.
Yeah, you're done.
Shock Dart's helping. Oh my word. I can't believe that. The Shock Dart's actually applying enough pressure to that wide angle has to come out, and it lets Majestic Nuts swing. That's ridiculous. Goofy, you've pulled off some great clutches these last couple of rounds. I'm not feeling the 1v4 right now though, buddy.
Feeling it out. Playing for exit frags here. Trying to figure out how many people are on this side of site. You do have to get members off the back of this site. It can be tricky at times, especially with an aimer as good as Goofy. They're going to bait with the updraft, but Goofy knows better than that. As he gets knifed off in his own right. Think they're just going to handshake this one away. Both leave licking their wounds. Hebron a little bit more, though, as the score goes up for Brooklyn Tech in this tug of war between these 2 teams. Neither of them willing to give either any sort of foothold over themselves. You could take a look at the economies and understand just how dire the situations are on either end. Hebron coming in, barely able to scrap together a buy. I'm sure they're going to give it a go. I think Tragic can end up tossing a gun Ritzy's way. And for Brooklyn Tech, well, they have managed to put up a little bit of a trust fund themselves, but it's been a long road getting here.
Majestic Nuts is going to buffer that economy even further with the tour de force in this round too. I mean, this is the back and forth kind of action we want to see from our grand final. Map number 1. No 2-10 starts on our halves here, Door.
No siree.
Teams are playing for every inch. I like this too from Brooklyn Tech, right? Adjusting away from these heavy B leans and taking a bit of mid control. This worked from them earlier too, right? Like they were able to get pretty far up into mid without much contest from the enemy team. This owl drone should spot Tragic. Yeah, doesn't quite get the tag, but you know he's there now.
Jig should be up here as well. You spotted out one player main, couple players on cat. They're not going to be beat anytime soon. You can start your lean, but Hebron aren't. Hebron are very hesitant to send members this way, and you know what? Maybe they don't need to. Rhythm with an opener from the Hunter's Fury is still apprehensive about their position. Brooklyn Tech are extremely cautious about moving in. See, well, I'm not sure if you want the smoke, bud. Sprays and catches a whole handful of bullets back.
Yeah, got headshot through the floor there, actually. So we've got this 5v4. C was really low, and so is the Sova, right? I mean, this is a very difficult situation for Brooklyn Tech. That helps. Septico alleviating some pressure. You now have a place to play from, but it doesn't last very long. The Cosmic Divide cutting off the tour de force, and Hebron, once again, these retakes are immaculate. Complete read on cool username, and there's nothing Majestic Nuts can do from A main, not through the Cosmic Divide. That's the Astra really coming into play there, and we're back to a tied game.
You know, I think it does highlight the Astra, not just for the ultimate, though, but how this game has gone in general. The Astra's been a fantastic tool in slowing down Brooklyn Tech. It's been map-wide. Exit's reaction time on getting the stars down on the required part of the map is a big part of playing Astra. That UI can take a while, and it's difficult to master. So getting stars in place on time and popping those smokes at the right time and being ready for the opposing side, especially when they're coming at you as fast as Brooklyn Tech, dude, my hat's off to him. He's been playing phenomenally. And now that makes
that
score 4-4.
gravity well in tree actually altered the course of the round, right? Because it got the one tap, or it actually took out the spike carrier with the help of the Hunter's Fury there, right? Teed up that Hunter's Fury to get the kill onto Eco, getting the spike carrier and making so that no more smokes could come out, which was so brutal for Brooklyn Tech. They're going to try and work this mid position again. Majestic Nuts has no idea what he's creeping into, though.
This is the same setup from round one.
I mean, there's a cross here, though. Yeah. 3 players. There's no way Majestic Nuts gets more than one there.
I want to watch the reposition, though, how this works, because we see the Jet and the Sova pull back into their own spawn here, which makes this a much more awkward situation. Brooklyn Tech, they think there's that 3-man stack on A. They think the Astra's still there.
This flash.
So now there's a spawn push. Does this flash connect? No, unfortunately not. Trades are good. Ritzy holding strong. Septico gets the flash eventually to make the numbers a little bit more even. But 1v2 against the likes of Hebron. Septico, not known for being a fragger, is called an incredible few maps in the past days, but fragging has not been it. Exit cleans them up in the 1v1, catches them not looking, and puts the score up to 5-4. I think that also puts the economy of Brooklyn Tech in the tank.
It's in a much more difficult position now, at the very least. They're going to try and buy for one more round. I mean, we've had actually a lot of gun rounds in this first half. This is the first... I mean, even still, we'd have to see Brooklyn Tech lose this to get a true, like, guns versus eco situation that we've had for, like, the last, like, 5 or 6 rounds. This has been great play thus far from both Hebron and Brooklyn Tech. I'm very intrigued by this chamber position that they do. So what you have is this TP over 2 tree, and then a deep trademark to actually catch the arch in mid. It's not going to matter this round, though, as Brooklyn are just off toward A.
I do prefer the arch trademark, though, as opposed to what we were getting earlier, which a lot of times it was being put through A main, sometimes in lobby, sometimes in B. I like having that mid-map control, especially against Brooklyn Tech. It's not going to come into play here.
Nice.
The entry on the site's good. Goofy down. Clutch players now out of the way. And no early answer for Hebron. I love that Brooklyn Tech are covering their bases early on here to make sure they hold as much space as possible. Hebron now smell something out here on Catwalk. Are they ready for it, though? Almost lining up for Majestic Nuts, but Tragic is going to get that kill. Rithy now gets pinged once by the dart. Spam through smoke. 3v4, not impossible for Hebron, especially with the quality of retake that they've had, but certainly a difficult one. As slowly but surely, their util runs low on Brooklyn side. All the members have their guns and their wits about them. As Rhythm comes in from heaven. Position all the more difficult. As the angle ready. Now 1v2. These retakes have only gotten better as time goes on. But Septico's got the taps. Is there time? I think there is. Phenomenally played by Hebron to win a 3v4. Sniffing out the person on Catwalk. Prepping every single kill on site. The trade's perfect. The aim just as much so. 6-4.
I love the way Hebron is playing this defense. letting Brooklyn Tech onto the site a lot of these times, right? Like we have yet to see a situation where Brooklyn Tech have the spike planted and they have a massive player lead. It's not like 3v5 retakes or 2v4 retakes, right? It's close every single time. One player differential at the most. And Hebron, while they're giving up site, they're holding on to key positions. They keep that tree position with Majestic Nuts over there. Then they clear out Catwalk. They don't give Brooklyn Tech a lot of options as to where to hold in these post plants. And it makes it easy to smother Brooklyn Tech on the site.
Nuts. We'll catch out that trademark early. That's pretty good value, all things considered. That's an important piece of util now gone. Forces out a drone here from Rhythm to figure out just how serious is this mid push. And he does spot out a lot of players, unfortunately, for Brooklyn Tech. And gets over to Pizza. Oh, it's a disaster. Yeah, this round's not going anywhere.
Nah, just a light buy here from Brooklyn Tech, as they know the last round of the half is more important than this one. Siwa would have to be a hero. We've seen Siwa be a hero. I'm not putting it out of the realm of possibility, but this would certainly be a new mantle for him to take up, in all honesty. Ooh, a little bit of a tricky angle there for Tragic. He's getting pushed, too. He just wants to get out of there, but Cool Username's hunting him down. Smells blood in the water, but it's also some of Cool Username's blood hitting the floor this time.
Siwa's got 5 knives and 2 people to kill. That's too many for them, though, as the score goes up to 7-4. This half has not gone how Brooklyn Tech wanted. We talked about it yesterday. It's for a lot of these teams that like to play fast, we always liken it to TAMU because all these teams seem to play like TAMU. But if you don't come out of the gate swinging, if you don't get that first map like early 9-3 half, you do start to worry a little bit because teams have more and more time to adapt. It gets rougher over time. Brooklyn Tech have got to find a trump card, and I'm looking at the next half. I think they have a great opportunity to on the defending side to kind of prove us wrong that defending half yesterday was just a fluke. But you're worrying a little bit. You're starting to sweat.
Their defense yesterday wasn't awful either. It just wasn't quite as impressive as their 10-2 attack. And look, once again, Hebron, they're just giving sight. They know. The spam from Tragic. No Septico this time. The IGL, the flashes, hit the floor. You're holding on to Tree. You're holding on to Heaven. You've got great places to stage this from. And a null command to go push into. The only problem is Brooklyn Tech do have the Hunter's Fury. So you have to find a way to get all the way deep into A main pretty early.
Well, the null command's a big one. Majestic Nuts with thinking he was going to TP out of there. Unfortunately, no, is the answer he receives from the opposing side. Exit. Looks like he wants to push this smoke. Well, thinks about it. Keeps it close. Nice. As Tragic eventually will. Picks up a 3K for themselves on the round. And another one up for Hebron. The aggression of Brooklyn Tech has finally met its match.
These retakes are phenomenal. Nothing short of phenomenal.
That was sick, yeah.
Right, the null command.
And with the null command, that's a big one, yeah.
Yeah, the null command completely ruins what Cool Username wanted to do with the Hunter's Fury there, right? You want to go and play far back, but he also doesn't want to play too far back, like all the way back in a lobby, because A, worried about a flank then potentially, but more importantly, B, you're worried about your site players getting run over and you being too far away to help. So he plays in a lobby, but that means that the null command is actually in range to shut down the Hunter's Fury. So there's no chance to stop the push from Hebron, and there's no chance to stop the defuse.
As we swap sides, not the penultimate round by any means, but certainly an important one for Brooklyn Tech on the defending side. This chamber was put to the test early on. It will be again.
Nice.
There's a couple members lined up outside B. Nobody spotted by the dart as well. It's great.
Yeah, this is a great read.
It's good, bad information for Hebron. They're very happy that they've given nothing away and got to maintain their position. Now, darts come out. The execute comes on. It's all about B.
Oh, Cool Username getting off to a decent start, but not being able to do much else. That shock dart, not quite landing. The second one, though, is definitely going to apply some damage. And those two players were just so low. Tragic, he does not miss with that headhunter, dude. He has been a fiend with it thus far. Septico's been good this weekend, but again, just like much like the other KO, Goofy in the first half. I'm not feeling the 1v4, especially when you have to swing out into 2. A phenomenal pistol for Hebron. This time, let's see if they can keep that anti-eco door.
I'm noticing a big difference between this game and a lot of the earlier ones that we got up against Lake Braddock, though, for Brooklyn Tech. And that's what Septico is the last alive in a lot of these rounds. Earlier on, especially on Haven, but on Breeze as well, it was a kind of a through point that we witnessed time and time again, was that Septico was willing to throw his life on the line in order to be traded out, in order to enable other players to frag, especially on retakes. But we're not seeing the same foot put forward today, and that's not just Septico, right? That's the team needs to be patient enough for him to get there and enable him to do that, but it's just a small thing that I'm noticing going into this, and as we play the anti-eco through, Hebron's just trying to get out of this with as many players alive as they can, and certainly are doing a great job of such.
Yeah.
With Goofy picking
Looks
up
like
cool
it's gonna be
username.
all of them.
Yeah, yeah, they heard the shorty. There's no way you go to it now, right?
I mean, it doesn't matter. Septico won't be in a position, even if he gets one, right? Like, it just doesn't matter for the economy that much. Oh, the elbow spotted. Goodbye. I'm really liking these fast execs from Hebron too. They're very well planned out. You can see that this Astra is very purposeful. Hebron aren't just putting in the Astra because it's some comfort pick for exit. They know exactly what they want to do with that. The double smokes, the grav well too, to make sure that nobody spams them from market as they exit out on in towards the switch and onto the site. It's very effective at isolating the B anchors and letting Hebron just roll that over. Now, Brooklyn Tech, it's their first gun round. It's their only real chance to try and recover this first map, which was their pick, by the way. Because if they flounder here, that it's going to be 11-5. They're not going to have any economy. That's a rough situation. And even they're not changing anything. They're just keeping going with this. Nice adjustment from Siwa, though. He ruins 2 of their days. But Exit does pick him up, Tor.
Every kill here, though, is good for Hebron, especially considering it's their bonus. Goofy down, Exit looking for 2 here. But left with 2 members alive. Brooklyn Tech limp away with their economy. Bruised, but not beaten down.
A win's a win at this point for Brooklyn Tech.
Yeah,
Right?
I'll take it.
You need a win more than you need a clean. Well, I mean, you also needed a clean win, kind of. So to go play, bro. He's bringing out these judges, dude. Oh boy, he's feeling
I do
the shotgun
also
today.
consider winning to be a win condition, Paul. That is,
You know, it's weird how that works, right?
Yeah, that's
this
crazy.
judge play is interesting from Septico, especially now that he has this read on the A main control that's about to come out for Hebron, this fast play on this direction, because Hebron have been going very quickly. When you go as quickly as Hebron do, it's hard to clear every corner from these shotguns.
waiting the knife out. Look at this. So smart from Hebron. Know exactly what's coming on the other side. And you're expecting aggressive play. If you watch Brooklyn Tech's match yesterday, you're expecting players to be in lobby here.
Nice.
But you still can't take them down, knowing it's only half the battle when it comes to beating Brooklyn Tech out. Flashes on site, though, as they're not dissuaded at all from this push. Have to go around the corner, though, with the judge. Pre-sprayed by Goofy. Just ready for it. Evens out the numbers 4-4.
Yeah, the ping there from the recon dart comes through, and Septico's judge gambit does not pay off. Ooh, another ping the other direction. That bot's pretty spammable, but Exit actually doesn't even take a tick of damage and then takes 2. Oh my lord, what good work from this Astra right now. Now it's a 2v4, Brooklyn Tech. I mean, one player has a Spectre. You're not going for a save here, but how can you even hope to get this done? A nice first pick from Eco. That helps Tor.
Player standing.
Makes it easier, but certainly not particularly doable, especially on a site that open with the angles being as they are, up to 11. Oh, Hebron, this map has gone anyway but what Brooklyn Tech wanted it to, and I think that's kind of the danger of this map pool as well. I do think that there is a realm where even if you don't play Fracture, you shouldn't be banning Fracture. Just because yeah, it's not likely the other team does either. You have to take risks somewhere, and picking even into a map pool this small is difficult, right? You're hardly ever playing just for your own map pool because the other team's going to be comfortable here as well. Hebron just watched you play this map last night, and they came ready. They did their homework, and goodness gracious, are they getting good grades, Paul?
And I mean, Brooklyn Tech, thinking further into the series, this was their map pick. They banned Breeze, so that really only leaves Haven, which admittedly wasn't a great pick for Hebron yesterday, as they got kind of slapped by Lake Braddock there, but it definitely doesn't feel good to have your back kind of against the ropes, honestly, so early in a series. So Brooklyn Tech, there is room to recover in this map. Not a lot of room, obviously, as they're on a no guns, no money this round, and no duelist either. Finally gets a shotgun pick. Septico finally gets one. Not that it helps.
Down they go. Okay. Cool username 366. Good for one onto rhythm. Trades either way, 3v2 now. As Hebron look to onto the site. That's with the critical angle. One headshot here could do it, but the drop just too difficult.
Yeah, really nice angles there, right? Because Majestic Nuts has to pick, right? Do I stay here and maybe get swung by the player below me, or do I drop down and give a very advantageous fight to the player in hell? So there's no good options there for Majestic Nuts. Match point. 12 to 5 thus far. Brooklyn Tech needs 7 rounds in a row. The good news is they've got the Hunter's Fury. That's a really important ultimate, but on the other side, there's no shortage of good ultimates either. Dark Cosmic Divide, Null Command, those are pretty nasty, especially when you just want to rush onto the B site, which has already been really good for executes.
Again, Hebron want to take this one out with a bang. Ritzy, good entry, helped out by the Cosmic Divide. Majestic Nuts left to the back of sight, left just to dust now. As the post plant gets to be played virtually, however Hebron want to. Leaving one member back in B main, 3 on site will be their decision. It's tragic. He's in the important position.
I mean, the Hunter's Fury actually gained on the other side. At least see what is good on that first fight. One tag does come through, but Septico with another fight win and expecting both players to be Boathouse. 3v1, Brooklyn Tech not done just yet with the scent. They'll finally work their way back into the B site and get this defuse for a 6th round.
Paul, I worry this is what we've seen time and time again out of these teams. This may not be the end of the map anytime soon. If I know high school.
Hebron yesterday versus Lake Braddock on this map had a 10-2 start, and then it ended up in overtime. So
yeah, there's no rules. The game is not over until it's over.
Exactly. So
Fat Lady's still got to warm up her voice. Yeah.
And they don't have much money, Door.
Oh, brokey broke. No problem. See what they can put up. Hebron have got a couple of rifles to the name, and honestly, in the hands of Rhythm exit the Goofy. I don't think it's that bad of a proposition. Early info thrown out from either side, but it's a default for Hebron, so just feeling things out, trying to catch out players with this tour de force.
Did the Alodrone not spot Majestic Nuts? I thought for sure he was going to get tagged by
No,
the Alodrone.
it
He
didn't.
didn't see the Alodrone. He was just standing out in the middle of Catwalk. Surely he got spotted there. He got smoked off, so I guess it's not the worst thing in the world. Yeah, I mean, Rhythm's spamming for it, but now with that smoke expiring, you're pretty nervous about swinging that again.
Really patient play from Hebron, all in all. Waiting all the way till a minute. They still haven't even started to rotate. Spike's in A lobby. It'll probably be a catwalk play, but man, is this a long walk for this chamber to get here, even with the teleporter available.
Ooh.
Majestic Nuts pulls back with the tour de force, suspects a little bit of pressure, but no rotates overall, so we're trying to jump peek mid, trying to spot something. There's no info to be had. Hebron are starving them of everything that they might want, but man, is it going to make this time run close.
And Hebron throw utility toward Cat to bait the rotate off toward A. There's no info mid. The problem is getting from mid to the site is actually going to be pretty difficult. There goes your only remaining flash already.
Whoa, and there goes your head as well. There goes another. See what's starting to play. I've seen this one before. The story's been told time and time again. Third. Up fourth to the head. Cool username takes it, but we all know it was Siwa in heart, in effect. Shuts down the whole push. Ritzy, you got to get in there, bud. Run at him faster. Throw the knives, please. Anything to get your team across the finish line, but Hebron still falls just short.
Yeah, a little bit of an indecisive round from Hebron. I liked the idea, but I think they needed to execute on that one probably like 20 to 30 seconds sooner and get some deeper mid control while they were trying to bait toward A there. So a little bit funky to be sure, but not the end of the world. Still a 5-round buffer to play with for Hebron. They are low on economy. Gonna buy a little bit. It's a light buy here. A couple, a single rifle and some decent weaponry, but nothing to write home about.
You feel with a bulldog. Run for your life.
Oh, no!
Wow. Almost got out. Surprisingly, but Septico, unfortunately, those boots were not made for walking. Brooklyn Tech now down to 3 players. Hebron on match point. The checkered flag in sight. Who using is just inches away from hitting any of these players, but unfortunately gets pushed off by the drone.
This is actually really difficult for a retake now. Like,
Yeah.
even though there's a gun advantage for Brooklyn, getting in here sucks. You gotta nail that paranoia right now. Up and already the spam coming through. There's still an A main player to isolate. Oh no, it's all done. Brooklyn Tech sent packing on a low buy from Hebron. That's a 13-7 to start our grand finals.
An insane start for Hebron, especially considering the map pick from Brooklyn Tech. They look phenomenal. I want to highlight one player, though, as much as every single person we saw for Hebron was really having a good day. Dude, time and time and time again. Tragic in that headhunter.
Yeah.
Real quick, I'm sorry, Chris Bucket's hiding down here. I understand hiding. I understand wanting to play low. When Tragic's popping heads like that, it's okay. You can come up now. He's out of the game. Yeah, you're safe. It's okay, I promise.
That was scary. Final round, they don't have guns, Paul, and they still win. What are they doing tonight?
I think Dorian hit the nail on the headhunter, right? I mean, Tragic just simply doesn't miss with that, dude. Don't give him a rifle. Don't give Tragic a rifle. I think he actually gets more kills with the headhunter than real weapons, dude. That was insane. You know, I talked to him earlier about like, oh, we need to see Tragic put up numbers like Majestic Nuts does on that chamber. The dude blew him out of the water. That was a crazy map one.
Let's take a look back because this was back and forth for the first 8 rounds. It was 4-4. Then in round number 10, I want you to keep your eyes on the 3v4. You guys called it out excellently. Rhythm clutching up was kind of the game changer for me. After that, the economy started going in Hebron's favor, and they ran away with this game looking way stronger on both sides of this matchup compared to the way they were playing yesterday against Lake Braddock.
You see the highlight here. I think this is one of the big ones. Yeah, when they shut it down. Phenomenal play. And the swing from Exith, not just swinging and pulling a player to be refragged, but also getting the kill on the swing. Absolutely phenomenal. And like you said, Puckett, that really did change the course of the entire economy of the game. Flip side, it's just about picking up a couple more rounds. And despite some harrowing attempts from the likes of Brooklyn Tech, this map just wasn't it for them, unfortunately.
Plausible. I loved what we saw from Exith, looking so strong on that Astra. It feels like if you get the plant down, he's the player to watch. If you're looking for someone to bring Brooklyn Tech back in it, though, I want to see Siwa popping off again. Can we get some more in this game number 2? Because I hope we're going to a game 3. And remember, Hebron has to reset the bracket here. If they win a game 2, we've got a whole new series to play, Dor.
Oh, it's just a straight best of 3. There's no even bracket reset. It is all or nothing. It is all on this next map. Their back is against the wall. It is best of 3. You are at match point. You've got no room. Your foot's like slipping off the cliff back here. You little Wile E. Coyote with your feet running off the edge. You are hoping now if you're Brooklyn Tech. The question for me is like, dude, the maps now are open. This is what I was talking about earlier. Like, if you're scrambling this much, I don't think you ban Fracture. I think you have to try and force a map that you like.
Paul, you agree with this? Do we see Haven? Is there any chance that Hebron is going to allow the map that they got beat up on last night?
I have to imagine it's Haven, right? Because the way it works here for our HSEL maps now is it's going to be loser picks, but winner bans first.
Yeah.
So I expect Hebron to just ban Fracture, right?
No, I think you ban Haven. I think you get that out of the way. Because that's been the strongest map for them for a long time.
That would be
if you're trying to force Haven.
The problem is that Hebron have already banned Fracture, so they're clearly not comfortable going to it. So I think they're going to ban Fracture, and that forces you to Haven because Breeze was banned earlier by Brooklyn Tech, and then we just played Ascent. We can't play it twice in a row, so you have to go to Haven for this third map, which admittedly I think is a really good map for Brooklyn Tech. So I think there is room maybe for Hebron to get a little spicy with it and ban Haven.
That's what I'm saying.
Then
I gotta cut off our tinfoil talk here because we gotta go to break. Quick reminder on the way out, we got giveaways every single map. We just dropped off 25 in-game dollars. I got 25 more for map 2. And if Brooklyn Tech can take us the distance, a $50 bonus is coming up in map number 3. Don't go anywhere. This is the HSEL Valorant National Championship.
I have 2 or 3 kids that a few of them just didn't feel like they belonged here. I mean, there's this whole concept in social media going around that gamers are nerds and they can't be like the traditional sport athletes. So they just don't want to be here. But you get them in. We got kids into this program and they've shown up almost every day. I wouldn't say every day because there are days that they don't. They get back into their old habits, but almost every day. And you see the grades turn around. You see them actually have a chance at graduating. You see their mental health go up, and if nothing else, they've built friendships here that they wouldn't build out in the school. So the biggest thing is just seeing that mental health go up. They admit to me their mental health issues. They talk to me about that, and they're actually reaching out to someone. Because if we don't build that trust, or if I don't build that trust in this program, then who knows where that kid ends up. So that's another motivation I got to put in that kind of time, because you got to get to know these kids before we get to the performance stuff. Because the trophies and accolades are cool, but they leave high school and we got to set them up for real life.
Hi, I'm Nick, and I qualified for the Nationals tournament in Minecraft HSEL Spring Major this year.
My name is Jerome Douglas from Port Island High School, representing Pell Clan as the first ever member to qualify for a postseason and go to Nationals.
I'm Jared Baker. I'm a senior at Texas Eagleton High School. I qualified for the Nationals in NBA 2K22, and it's our first year of our program, and I'm really excited that we qualified on our first year and can't wait to see what we do.
How does it feel to be in the inaugural, the very first high school Esports League Nationals for NBA 2K PlayStation? How does it feel?
Well, I'm beyond excited for the opportunity. I'm very grateful. The job isn't finished. This wouldn't be possible without the support from my family, friends, and my loved ones.
I'm just happy to be here. It's a new experience for me and for everybody else.
I'm at the top of my game. I'm at the top of my game.
We've got so many titles in action here at the HSEL Nationals, including Rocket League. Poly Prep, the favorites, coming in led by Lions, aka Mick Snyder, one of our MVP candidates, currently going up against Cali Connections, as the two high school squads were tied 2-2 last time we checked in. This Rocket League Finals, Paul, it has been so exciting from start to finish, and Lions putting on a show here as our MVP candidate.
I mean, yeah, absolutely, right? There's a reason that this guy's the MVP candidate. We heard from him yesterday. Well, actually, we didn't hear from him yesterday. We heard from his coach, though, about how important Lions has been to the success of this team, which has won several different titles in HSEL over the last, year and a half or so. And they worked their way through the bracket. So did Cal Connections, though. I'm pretty sure, if I was reading that bracket right, Cal Connections actually losing to Poly in the very first round, and then do the full lower bracket run back to meet him again in the grand finals.
It's kind of like Hebron, right? This is what we're seeing, where the rematch is going towards the underdog, because Cali Connections, after that game 5, they were able to take game 6 as well. They conclude a 4-2 grand final to steal the national title from Poly Prep. Congratulations, Cali Connections Academy, our Rocket League champions here at the HSEL.
And it's crazy to me. It's not technically a reverse sweep, but being down 2-0 to start a series and then taking 4 back your way, especially, you guys can see the scoreline in that first game. It was like 6-1. It was not a pretty sight, but to adapt to turn it around in that fashion, especially in Rocket League, where being on mechanically and adapting are more subtle things that can change over the course of a series, as opposed to direct adaptations like you might see in something like a Valorant. It's really hard to turn things around that much.
It was pretty impressive stuff. Shout out to Extreme, you're my MVP, buddy. But a whole team effort. They're walking away with the lion's share of the $150,000 scholarship for Rocket League's portion. And we got to jump into another matchup to see who else is gobbling up some scholarship cash. 150 grand across all of our games, Paul, and our Valorant champions, they could take home a chunk of it. Brooklyn Tech, they got to win too, though. Hebron, they're on match point after that opener on Ascent.
Yeah, Hebron really looking to get their revenge for earlier in the bracket. These two met up in the upper bracket semifinals, and it was a 2-1 game there. It went the distance. We're hoping it goes the distance again, if only so that we can give away more money in the chat. But also, just because Brooklyn Tech have looked so impressive when we've seen them succeed. I think they maybe fell back on some prep in this upper bracket final. I think Hebron had a lot of really good footage, and like Dor was talking about earlier, you could see the clear counter stratting, especially in the like those early rounds with the pistols and everything. It seemed like
Right.
Hebron was very aware of how Brooklyn Tech wanted to play the game.
Well, we'll find out. Does Brooklyn Tech have an answer in game 2? We're loading up right now. Chat, let us know. Are we going the distance to a game 3, or are Hebrons about to lock up our national title? We got our casters. It's Dor and Paulsable for potentially the final game.
Hey, thank you so much, Puckett. Oh, Paul, we were talking during the break about, what's the over-under on this thing going to 3. I said, you know what? If Hebron finds the guts to not ban Fracture, to ban out the Haven, I think it's only going to be 2. But if they fall, if they rest on their laurels, if they ban out that Fracture and they let this thing go to Haven, dude, Brooklyn Tech looked so good on this yesterday. I've got faith in them to send it to 3.
I get to tell you that I told you so now, Dor. nobody wants to play Fracture, man.
You can only say I told you so if Hebron wins this map.
Well, no, I told you that they were going to ban
then I was
Fracture.
right. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
I'll let you have that. Why not? I think this is like a really advantageous pick for Brooklyn Tech, but it is worth noting, we also saw Brooklyn Tech play this yesterday. So are Hebron allowing it to go to Haven because they've had this night off to sort of, read into Brooklyn Tech once again, right? They had great counter strats on Ascent. Do they have those same picks on Haven? This was a really difficult map for Hebron yesterday versus Lake Braddock. They got 13-2'd here. So Brooklyn should be feeling pretty good.
You have to be prepared for it, though. Like you were saying, if you're going to ban Fracture here, you can have prepared for this. Because if you ban Fracture, it's a natural pick for them to take this thing to Haven. The counter strats were good last map. Whether or not they persist is always a question, especially, the lower you go in terms of like the Valorant totem pole, whether you go pro to tier 2 to collegiate to high school, the less time you have to prep for these matches, the less time you have to IGL and counter strat and do those sorts of things. And so the playbook can only run so deep. The question is that 1 map? Is that 2 maps? What is it for Hebron?
And I will say, I do like the Breach pickup here for Goofy, our MVP candidate, right, from Hebron. I think Breach has really come into form on Haven these last couple of months, right? Sky a little bit old hat. We saw Septico succeed a lot on the Sky yesterday, so I'm not like writing him off for picking Sky, but it's a little bit more difficult to get value out of the Sky these days, right? You don't get the same sort of early round pressure with the fault line. You don't get the same sort of sight control with the Rolling Thunder, right? It's more about playing the information game, getting some picks, and that's a game that Brooklyn Tech are really comfortable playing, but it's a lot less decisive.
Yeah, and for me, I'm looking at the hover here from Exit. We talked about Astra being viable on Ascent. Haven is falling less in that order. To see the Astra locked in here. Yeah, but I mean, Exit also looked really good on it. So do you swap the comfort? Do you keep it for that reason? I can't blame him. Another player I'm looking at here, Siwa, who just played out of his brains yesterday. Exit, don't do it. Exit, you can't do that. That's illegal. That's illegal. Yeah. Okay, back to the
They
Astra.
wouldn't have had Smoke Store. There's no way he was
I know.
locking yours.
I know. That's look, sometimes you press the lock in button a little too late. It goes poorly, but no. These are the comps we're getting. You highlighted the big differences right between the Breach and the Sky. The Breach, a bit more modern. Goofy, also a player that you're looking to bring those modern things to the table as an MVP candidate. That versatility is what gets your team across these finish lines.
And going to the other difference in the comps, right? I mean, we've talked about Eco and the Omen to death this weekend because he's performed pretty well thus far. But I think Exith has a tall challenge ahead of him in getting value out of the Astra here, but it's not the worst map for Astra ever. I think Cosmic Divide is really good for retakes. I think this comp is really good for retakes, honestly. I just don't expect us to see as potent gravity wells to stop this attacking side as we saw on Ascent.
And of course, those cooldowns do become much more difficult to play around.
On such a wide
Ever since
map.
they were nerfed. Yeah, exactly. Because they can force one side, fake to the other. You've got to pull stars. You can't do that at the same rate that you used to be able to. Just have to go pushing out Garage. Is a tough corner to play out of. Does just, tragic. We'll call that one a day. Nuts gets flashed off. But a big flank coming in here from Hebron. Ritzy with the critical position. Letting their presence be known, but not pushing any further than they need to right now. You're just locking them into a part of the map. On the corner, there's the big duel. Majestic Nuts ready on the angle. Nice shot on the Ritzy. Turns it into a 5v4. But with only 55 seconds left, Brooklyn Tech also don't really have that much map control.
Oh, I like this though, right? They hold and don't actually use that kill that opens up the A site to go toward A. Instead, they stay towards C. They expect the rotates to actually head to the other side of the map. And as long as they can
position
not
here,
drop
this is sick.
two to exit. If
They push the
exit
player
gets
out
two
of
here,
garage.
that's a
They're not
problem.
expecting this. No! Oh, they're not ready! Exit pushes garage using no util. After Tragic got forced away with the teleporter into a position that Brooklyn Tech were just not expecting them to be. Hebron now retake this with the man advantage.
Garage control too. I mean, this is just brutal. Recon darts up. Fault line's gonna be up. This is so good. At least there's no stars, so you're not worried about a gravity well, but good luck here, Brooklyn.
Flash then keeps Goofy off. There's no trade for exit now. Tragic as well, getting beaten off the angle. 1v2 for Goofy. 92 HP, and the health bars are relatively small on the other side, but just not able to beat Siwa. The Frenzy too good. Fantastic plays on either side for the pistol, but it's Brooklyn Tech with the point on the board.
3v4 and Brooklyn Tech only dropped one player. I talked about
hard.
Eco, dude. His paranoia saved the round there. It isolated the players coming from defender spawn. I mean, this was great from exit, don't get me wrong. But Eco is the hero.
Absolutely.
That paranoia makes it so you can isolate the two players coming from garage, win that fight 2-for-1, and then there's nothing that the remaining entry can do. All the util has been exploded onto the site all at the same time to try and overwhelm Brooklyn, and the paranoia just stops it in its tracks.
Miniko was doing that all yesterday too. A mid push here, cheeky play from Hebron, but unfortunately, just not going to find any purchase on the likes of Brooklyn Tech. They hear that play come out as well, which means that they're much more confident to make this A push. Unless, look, Tragic's in the back of sight. I'm not going to get anything out until he's dead. But oh my God, no, don't do it, Tragic. Chill out, dude. Please. They've got their parents are watching this game. You can't do that to them.
That's just one though. He didn't get cleared on that angle.
He's still alive, Paul.
It's not the end of the world. He is still alive. Where's this recon dart going to end up? That's my question for Hebron on this retake. Owl Drone 2 is going to keep them off for a second. This is a really good crossfire as well. Goofy's going to need to hit a very strong fault line. That does actually tag onto one player there, so not bad.
Oh, Tragic takes one more. It's down to 2 players. One more does do pretty solid economic damage. Unfortunately, the flash do good. Septico cleans it up. Brooklyn Tech, again, something I've said time and time again with this team, getting out 2 members alive, 1 member alive. The econ is bruised, but it's not gone as they head into the bonus.
Yeah, they'll bonus a bit here. I do want to kind of highlight how good these retake protocols are for Hebron already, though. Because even though that was a low economic round, they were going in 4v4. Exactly, same thing as last map. Hebron just looked really comfortable playing the retake game. So I love this composition leaning toward that. You saw the smoke, the fault line completely shutting off that third angle for the crossfire coming in from that connecting doorway onto the site. That will come into play later. You bet your bottom dollar door.
Now heading into the critical one. Not for Brooklyn Tech. They'll be fine after this no matter what, but Hebron, should they lose this, should they get knocked down to 1 player. Not going to be the most comfy of positions. Considering how last map went, I don't think anything less of a strong start is good for them. So it's about time that they start turning this scoreboard around. So far, pretty passive play from Brooklyn, looking to catch out any aggressive Hebron players with the Sheriffs and the Headhunter of Majestic Nuts, but no one testing their luck quite yet from Hebron. Ready for 1 peek. Majestic Nuts does have the angle, but not the aim. Goofy takes one down on the other side of the map while they're at it as well. It's going to turn into a 5v3 with the lower eco. That should be the round for Hebron, as long as they can keep these players on C alive.
Now the question is just, can Brooklyn Tech get a plant here? Nice angle from Ritzy. Doesn't quite find that first one, though, so there is at least opportunity for a Brooklyn Tech to get onto C, but not much of one. I mean, the smoke isolating those C-long players, so not really a ton that Brooklyn Tech can do here. Yeah, they're just going to get hunted down 1 by 1. I wouldn't be surprised if this is a flawless for Hebron.
30 seconds left.
Hebron's been consistent on these anti-bonuses, though. I mean, everyone stayed alive. It's been 4 or 5 members pretty much every single time for them, so exactly what you want out of a team like this, especially in a game like this that's so volatile. Any bit of consistency you can get between your halves is absolutely massive. And I mean,
I want to
you
zone
use it
in.
mostly just good positioning.
I want to positioning. I want to zone in on Exith's positioning, like individually. These off angles that Exith is taking are so clever. They're so cheeky but they're high percentage, medium risk kinds of off angles, right?
That's exactly what it is.
Yeah, it's not like the craziest off angles in the world where like you're gonna die there like most of the time, but there's more reward than there is risk. And it's so clever, honestly, to stop Brooklyn Tech, who have just honestly been dry peeking a lot of these angles into exit thus far. They haven't been using these Septico flashes or the Owl Drone to comfortably walk their duelists in and take map control.
I mean, you brought up the medium risk, though, and that's what I like to see from these teams, right? I'll highlight again that pistol round play because it was sick from exits, but retaking Garage using no util. Just dry peeking and being willing to walk up to that door, but knowing that the value on the other side is 2-3 kills and an insane amount of map control a lot of the time. It's plays like that that get you value. Now they're here on the critical angle. Tragic. Vandal in hand. Has a teleport out. It's the kill and makes like a bandit.
I mean, this is super tricky now to try and get in on, right? Because you want to try and outpace. You know where Tragic is at the very least. You got spotted inside that smoke. But getting out of these smokes, these Astro Stars really just bruising these the pace of Brooklyn Tech, right? They want to go, but they have to wait out so much utility. It gives so much space over to the defending team. Rhythm good for the first fight. Now he's just trying to play from backside. Not quite able to land on the Majestic Nuts there, so 3v2 as the spike gets planted.
Not one that you want to lose. Both teams have pretty slim econs following this. 2v3 is not unwinnable, but on, a site of Haven, this is more often than not a numbers game, right? How many can you trade out? It'll happen fast, though, if they're both ready to peak. They know there's 50-50 on the other end of this, but unfortunately, it's a 33-33-33. They've got 3 players to kill, and they're ready for the one coming out of the smoke. Ritzy finds a second refrag after the dash, gets the reset, and exits again. We watch a man-down retake from Hebron come to fruition.
Literal perfection from Hebron.
So
I can't believe the way they isolated those gunfights, dude. Ritzy walking out with the new dash, right? Knows that one player is going to be graffiti. Someone's going to be there 100% of the time. The smoke isolates the player who wants to play from short. Majestic Nuts isn't able to help, so you go quick, get eco, dash out, then you let exit take the contact on the player who wants to swing from hell. It's so good from Hebron every time they go for a retake.
God, and you can honestly, as much as I joked about, hey, leave Fracture in, put Haven out, I think for a lot of teams that makes sense, but for a team like Hebron, the one thing we didn't take into account when we were talking about map pick ban was also the fact that Hebron's retakes have been perfect all night. Like,
and this is a
or none, just perfect, and this is the retake map.
Yeah. And I mean, Hebron do lose one. Goofy already dead on B, so Brooklyn Tech, they're just going to try and hard send it onto this mid site. They're going for the plant out in the open. I expect them to retreat back out towards grass here, but how many players are they going to leave for this close contact? They do have the Blade Storm and the Tour de Force available.
I mean, we talked about it last round, but speaking of plants that are effectively numbers games at the end of the day, this is exactly one of those, right? Just bringing more players to the table is huge. So after the first pick, it does become much trickier, 2v4. And honestly, Hebron makes me believe in these kind of things. I don't think I should, though. It's just Rhythm remaining.
Really interesting play from Brooklyn Tech on that plant, right? So they plant in the middle of B, so you can actually kind of play from either out in grass or A-Link. So they force into A-Link, they overwhelm Tragic, who was holding on to that Tour de Force, and then they leave their own Tour de Force, Majestic Nuts, on the site. I think he maybe pushes a little bit too far, but the fact of the matter is the Tour de Force buys enough time for Siwa to go all the way around through the defender spawn and get a really nice flank. So there's just no way for Hebron to recover that round at that point. Really interesting from Brooklyn Tech. Those kind of plays only work once, but it's a good way for them to stabilize.
And I like seeing B plays in the early mid half as well. I mean, too often we see teams let the half go to 13. They're like, all right, final round of the half. We're going to pull our ace out from our sleeve and go B. And then the other team stops them because, like, who could have seen that coming? The one requisite round that every team goes B happens to be the last round of the half. No, not Brooklyn Tech. They pull it out relatively early and at a critical point in time at that. So I do like to see proactive play coming out from this attacking side. However, proactivity is only going to get you so far against an operator or Ritzy. Cool username, but don't peek that corner.
Don't do it.
If you enjoy life as a Valiant Sova main, I would not do it. Oh no, he brought buddies along. Just don't get collided. That's my only ask.
Okay, they actually get out there because Ritzy's nervous about Garage now. They lose Garage control. At least Majestic Nuts trades it, dude. Great shot, too, as Ritzy was actually falling there. Wow, exit. Guys, you got to clear back sight before you try and plant. There we go. Majestic Nuts is just doing everything this round. Making sure that Hebron aren't going to be able to take this. Siwa knows that one is going to come through Garage. Hits the shot 2 onto Goofy. Great work from him, and now 3v1. A very difficult situation for Tragic.
I like the CB play in general for Brooklyn Tech. Just from like a strengths perspective, you think about what they've been good at this entire game. It's been taking those 1v1s as well as playing the much more scrimmagey style, right? You're looking for skirmishes across the map. When you take things over to A, you allow things to get a bit more formulaic. Tragic. No, don't. Don't make me take this seriously,
okay.
Please. Yeah, okay. But like I was saying, by taking things towards that A site, by trying to split on A or trying to play some sort of default or a C split, you really allow the other team to play a much more formulaic game. That's what Hebron have been doing all day, right? They've got their set plays, their retakes, they know exactly what they want to do, and they follow up on them beautifully. But by taking things to C and keeping things a bit messier, trying to keep things kind of in flux at any given point in time, you play your player's strengths, which is their fragging ability, and Majestic Nuts comes up big that round with it.
And that's one of the rounds where Hebron don't get to actually play their retake game, right? The C anchors kind of just get demolished by Brooklyn Tech's execute. So there's no opportunity for retake, and Brooklyn Tech have a very comfortable post plan in that scenario. Now they know it's a hard push out C, so guess where they're going? Anywhere else. Tragic has paced pretty effectively here. Actually might be able to catch Septico, who's just coming out of the Trailblazer. Ooh. Oh no! The ramp cutting off the head there. Unlucky.
Yeah, speaking of Tragic. All right, 5v5 retake, no guns. Look, I'm not going to count Hebron out because I've seen them do stupid stuff before. They will stop the spike. Oh, no, not like this. They do know Tragic is existing back here, but I love that Tragic is just existing back here.
For Tragic, dude.
Yeah, if Tragic just doesn't peek, just stay here. Just stay here. Don't move. Don't move, Tragic. Your job is to exist. Live for as long as you can. Buy time for your teammates. Gets a little greedy on a peek, but he bought space. Look at this. Now they can retake. Everyone was looking the other way. Ritzy's moving in a Hunter's Fury now, forced out of Brooklyn Tech, and with a one-member advantage. Oh, he knows he can tank it as well. Siwa spraying the smoke, does have to push onto the site dangerously enough. Rhythm taking one more with him to the grave. 2 more. It needs 1 kill. Knows which side of the site he's on, but unfortunately time is not on your side, is it? No.
No, it's not there. Just barely off for Rhythm. Less than a second differential there. Well, I like the idea from Hebron. I have one
But they had pistols! What do you
I
want
have one
from them,
criticism, Door, which is that they used 3 all. It didn't work. They just used Cosmic Divide, Hunter's Fury, and the Rolling Thunder. Now they're going into a super important gun round. And they got no ultimates, man. It was
tough crowd.
So close. I loved the effort. I think the main problem I have with that is that it's Ritzy tanking for the defuse there. You have your Bladestorm, your most potent player, going for the defuse instead of taking contact. I think, you want Ritzy to be able to trade out in that scenario.
Look, it's okay. There's a reason we call you patronizing Paul behind closed doors. Just let him have
We do?
No.
You've never called me that one.
Well, that's why it's behind closed doors to you. These doors, on the other hand, are going to remain closed for a while. Exit and Rhythm on the other side.
Yeah, that's a nasty cross.
Yeah, you're never getting through here. No shot. Fortunately, for them, they're not going to that side of the map. This round does leave a lot up, though, because of the economic damage done to Brooklyn Tech in that last round. Despite the ultimate investment, their econ was kept in check. They did have to buy this round, and so should they lose this, it is a dicey one on the other end. Hebron have kept the economy within range.
Only one anchor here, too. Tragic. Oh, is he playing outside of his trademark? Or out of his rendezvous? That's so risky. He gets spotted too. He can't make it back. The stun. He's not able to get back in time to actually TP out of danger. Meanwhile, Eco picking up the player, exit, pushing out of garage. And again, Hebron aren't allowed to play retake. It's 3v5. They could try it, but the fact of the matter is they used all their good retake ultimates last round. So a 3v5 is pretty hard to play into. It looks like they're just going to try and save their rifles instead, Door.
This makes sense. I mean, you don't want to take any more economic damage than you have to heading into the second half of the round. Or second half of the half. Goodness. I didn't want to say half twice, but man. I suppose second quarter? Probably a better way to put it. either way.
Are we gonna start dividing Valorant that way? I think that would be really funny.
Yeah,
Could
we
you
can go
imagine
to
if there was,
8th and
like, a special
16th if you
game
want.
mode where you did like attack, defense, attack, defense? Anyway,
Isn't that just overtime?
I mean, like I meant more regimented.
I suppose so. Oh my goodness gracious. Does he know there's one
Okay.
more there?
So remember how we were talking about Brooklyn Tech's economy?
I think it's all
fine.
right
Okay,
still.
good.
They can buy
They're
it.
doing
Yeah,
fine.
they can buy here. But again, it's kept close enough that should Hebron win a round, it's not there, right? It shall
probably
be
have to win two at
gone
this point.
should they lose. You think so?
Yeah. I mean, the one benefit of this is that Goofy gets 3 here, so already halfway back to the Rolling Thunder. I'll take that. I'll take that.
Yeah, oh yeah, they should be fine following this round, man. Brooklyn Tech is just building up a wall. It's tough for Hebron to tear down, but this is something we've asked for out of Brooklyn Tech time and time again. Just good early starts. Get out of these games off the starting block quickly. And the 6-2 storyline certainly is that. We've seen them keep this as well, all the way up to 10-2 numerous times against a few different teams. Same crossfire that we saw the other round set up here. Yeah.
Only one player will get
dangerous.
spotted by this this Trailblazer, right? It's just going to be Ritzy spotted. Dash is out of danger. They don't know Rhythm's in that corner.
Yeah, they don't want to test their luck here either. The dog got information, but it didn't win the position quite yet.
Yeah, you don't actually spot into window either there because the Trailblazer actually gets destroyed so early. So you have no idea what kind of stack is going on in Garage. But when a player's playing that far forward, you can assume that they have some sort of assistance. So I like this lean toward A instead.
Yeah, you raise a good point there with the assistance, but there's none here for Tragic. In fact, I don't think you're going to be getting much done at all. He's got the teleport out? Yeah, of course he's got it in place. Look, I'll take one bullet. He should spray this one through. Just look for one. Immediately TP out. No problem. Bing, bang, boom. But easier said than done against a school as good as Brooklyn Tech, especially with their aimers. Should be checking upwards now. The flash does find him. Yeah, too many angles. I like it from Tragic. Good idea, but not good enough to find a pick. They are on lower eco. We should keep that in mind for Hebron. The 45 retake's going to be a lot more difficult for that.
And that position on that top box close to sewer works a lot better if you have somebody taking contact for long, right? Making sure that nobody can go up from long because then you can kind of just peek downward into sewer and not a ton of teams will immediately check that top box there. Playing it solo is really difficult because you can see just how many angles Tragic had to watch. I mean, one from Exith, but it's still a 4v2 and way better rifles for Brooklyn Tech. So no surprise, 7-2 scoreline now. Brooklyn Tech answering back, well on their way to a game 3 here, Dor.
Yeah, Brooklyn Tech's parents' inheritance is clearly sitting nicely in their back pockets right now, as they're not going to be broke anytime soon. Hebron, on the other hand, are just scrapping together buys every other round, and at some point, you've got to look for a foothold, a handhold. At this point, I'll take like a shoulder hold, just really anything that they can get their grubby little phalanges on in order to get into this game, because these 2 rounds that came earlier on in the half are not propelling them anywhere. This round, they've got rifles, and they're looking for an early mid-push. It will be backed up by a push from Rhythm. I like the creativity, but, I mean, Paul, this feels a little bit like floundering. They're looking for something where it isn't, where instead I think just clean play is the answer, but not happening. Exits around the corner. Does win the 1v1. Will find the trade. I think here is another position where you just want to exist. You don't need to try for more kills here. But Hebron just look a little bit nervous.
Hebron really feel like they need to push toward Brooklyn now, but the problem is losing 2 in mid, and now the Seekers will reveal every player left for Hebron on the map. They know that one is going to be on this site. Ritzy still gets one, though. That flash gets around him. Ritzy's good for more. Can he actually take down Eco coming from around? Yes! Ritzy gets it done!
I mean, came out of nowhere, but I'll take it. It was a shifty mid-round play. I like the push from Exit. I think that was correct. Double dipping for the second was a bit greedy, and as you mentioned, following up with the cabbages for Brooklyn Tech was 100% the right play. Find those last 3 players, get the round up on the board, and punt Hebron's economy back out of the pitch one more time. Just say, have a nice day, enjoy your pistols. Doesn't happen. Ritzy clutches up, and that's probably about as long as you want it to go as well without that happening. Should another round have been put up on the board, it likely goes all the way up to like 9 on the half for Brooklyn Tech, bare minimum. Stopping it here gives Hebron the opportunity for a good half.
I actually really like this from Hebron. They go for that same deep flash again and bait like there's going to be another mid push. But meanwhile, it's actually C long and A long pressure. The middle of the map has been suffocated. Majestic Nuts on the lurk toward A gets rolled. So now A's not an option. If you want to double back towards C, it's going to be difficult because they smoked off the trademark. Oh my word, this is big brain from Hebron. B is forced from Brooklyn Tech, and they have no idea what's coming behind them.
Bro, your goose is cooked. It's 4v5. This round's over. You can quote me on that. There's 0% chance Siwa kills 5 people here.
Don't cast your cursed door.
Yeah, I know, dude. Look, I've seen these go south, but man, has Hebron played this phenomenally. You brought up early in the round. You read it perfectly, right? Putting on that mid pressure allowed for the sideline pressure to come in as kind of a bait and switch, as a pump fake. Brooklyn Tech, I mean, they know they're forced into be here. Everyone knows where everyone is at this point in time. It's just a matter of when do you want to walk into the brimstone and hellfire on the other side.
A shallow smoke just to try and get the plant down. Siwa is going for a very ambitious one. Takes a lot of damage.
How do you get away with
that? To at least get it done. But here comes this flank. The flank coming in rhythm. I mean, they're in such a huge spot. Look, they have no idea. They think that trademark's so good.
Bro, this round is over. This round's done. Oh, no. Yeah, I've seen Siwa clutch on this site before, but against 4 players with actual guns, I'm not sure if it's happening. Such a well-played round from Hebron. That was poetry in motion.
Smart, dude. I'm not 100% sure who's IGLing for Hebron at this point, but I almost have to.
No, I'm not either.
Like the dude is just massive brain on this Astra right now, man. Like it's either got to be him or like Goofy, I would assume, right? The MVP candidate.
Yeah.
Like, man, I loved that play, the way they manipulated the map. And then they did exactly what you wanted out of exit that round prior, right? They got their map control and they just held for it. They didn't over challenge. They didn't push all the way in and potentially give up a gunfight and alleviate that C long pressure, right? Great round from Hebron. They can still make this a 7-5 half, which would be very competitive.
All right, playing for it in Garage. Fat Lady's warming up her vocal cords here for the first half. If they get forced off, they should be expecting this player. They've seen this before, but finally that 2-man garage hold comes to fruition. One will be traded out, but it's the better one for Brooklyn Tech as they picked up another member over on the C site. Flank will come in late here, but they can't smoke off that trademark, so Tragic's position will inevitably be figured out here as 4 members abscond down C long, making it a very tricky position for Hebron to play, especially down a member.
Hunter's Fury, first shot clears out Garage. Oh, and Tragic loses the fight to a roaming Septico. Now you've just got to go so quickly as Hebron because you need to flush out all DC long players, and you're worried about a flank. And now you're worried about another flank from the shadows. Hebron don't know where to look.
I'm not sure there's many places you can. I think you just got to frag your way through these. Sometimes it's just about clicking heads. They've proven pretty good at that, but unfortunately, he's looking the wrong way. Eco's behind him. And attackers pick him another round. Brooklyn Tech, a 4 half. Solid, but Hebron definitely got their blows in there before the final bell rang.
Hebron definitely found ways to disrupt what Brooklyn Tech were trying to do with a lot of that like slow map control toward Garage and then like pivoting a lot of the time toward A. But at the end of the day, Brooklyn Tech with just a phenomenal half overall. They isolated so many fights so effectively, and I think Hebron, while they did try some cheeky things, a lot of them cost themselves a lot, and they got in that rough, like, economic valley where they were just ping-ponging from rifle round to eco round, rifle round to eco round. It's hard to recover from that. So 4-8, not the worst thing in the world for Hebron, but they're going to need a stellar attack if they want to shut this series down right now.
All right, that starts with the pistol round. Quick out of A. Raj control does belong to them. Astra Star is placed over on that C site. Nothing on the site to lock down those players, but the chamber does have that teleport ready. We've seen this before. It allows 3 members to be on this site bright and early. Majestic Nuts, though, does overstay his welcome on that box just a little bit too long. Turns it into a 4v4 retake op for the Brooklyn Tech crew. The trademark sitting out here in connector is going to make it a little bit trickier.
That angle not quite finding the spam on backside either, so Ritzy's feeling just fine. Siwa gets tagged by that shock dart too, now within 1 shot range from the Sheriff. It's such a difficult retake for Brooklyn Tech. Yeah, they didn't really stand a chance. A third out of 4 pistols for Hebron.
They just keep cleaning them up. I mean, especially with Tragic on your team, I would expect you to more often than not. That guy just doesn't miss with pistols in his hand, but second round here, we'll move up to guns, and with the plant going their direction, their economy is going to be fine. No chance of a force for Brooklyn. This is a round that you would expect Hebron to take 99% of the time.
And I'm really interested looking into the early parts of this half, how Hebron decide to pace, because we saw on Ascent that they really like their fast executes, right? They have a lot of good planning. They have good flood protocols to go quickly and overwhelm site anchors. So if Hebron can do that for the first like 3, 4, 5 rounds successfully, then they're going to A, tie up the game pretty quick, but B, get in a really good spot tactically for the late game.
Push on, trades either way. This is going a little bit rougher for Hebron than they expected. Brooklyn Tech showing up when it matters. Rhythm just needs one more. Does manage to get it. Buttons it up with 2 members alive, and they should be fine here, considering that they got plants on both rounds. Their economy should have been bolstered by that enough to make this a pretty effective bonus round. Brooklyn Tech are going to make them sweat for it, though, as that scoreline gets ever closer.
Yeah, Tragic saved last round, too, so you really only drop 2 rifles there. He's going to have a full rifle. An actual Vandal to go into this round as well. So pretty decent potential for Hebron to take away some solid economy from Brooklyn Tech. And Brooklyn want to shut this down now. They can't afford to lose this anti-bonus, because then, I mean, Hebron have basically tied up the game and we still have this entire second half to play.
There they are. Deploying drone.
Okay.
Look how
Pull back
fast
out
they're
for
going,
Brooklyn
man.
Tech. Brooklyn are holding all their util for the retake here.
I mean, Rhythm already with a Hunter's Fury. That's a round 3 Hunter's Fury. Knows one's coming from behind, too.
Wait, does he?
He heard the cloud burst.
He
heard the cloud burst.
he looked that way. I'm not sure he did. It's 50-50 right now. I'll be honest. I'm not 100% sure he did. Coming in from the flank. No. They're here now. I don't think it's... No, they didn't know. Siwa comes in and blasts away the skulls of 3 players. Brooklyn Tech with a flank for the ages. Just barely gets timinged off it. Dude, I still don't know if he saw him or not. He might have, and then just... They might have lost the thought in the midst of all the chaos.
He didn't see him, but he heard the cloud burst, so that's why he retreated. But the fact is, because he retreats, Siwa can just walk up C-Long and get a really nice pinch onto the site. So it's great either way for Siwa. Whether, you know, we can debate back and forth whether or not those audio cues came in, but the fact of the matter is Siwa gets a great timing here. There's just too many angles for Hebron to be looking in this scenario. So good stuff from Brooklyn Tech. They get out of that with 4 comfortable guns.
Right here.
All right, 9. It's all about Brooklyn Tech now taking this economy, turning it into a win. Just 4 rounds away from the checkered flag. Tragic's looking for an early pick here. Smoke does eventually get popped, though, which means that this early round's probably going to go on for a bit longer. They've got to feel out Garage here, get rid of that trademark, and then see what's going on after that. The smoke's clear, though. Hebron does have an advantageous map position. Pardon me. 4-man stack? Never mind. It's all Brooklyn Tech. They wrote this like a book.
I mean, that was that was just brutal. That was a dismantling. Brooklyn Tech looked fully aware that Hebron are going for these very linear hits, and that's the danger when you play as fast and as like singular sight as Hebron have in these first few rounds, and as they did on their Ascent attack as well too. Brooklyn Tech, they were shutting down those very effectively yesterday versus Lake Braddock, so it's no surprise that players like Majestic Nuts are just destroying these fast hits from Hebron.
Now the game plan's got to change. Hebron have been forced to adapt virtually.
That's brutal.
I'll tell you what. You look a little goofy after you get dismantled like that. Goodness gracious.
At least it's just an eco for Hebron. So like
it still feels bad, but yeah,
it still does not feel great. That's a tilter right there. I mean, this is good presence from Brooklyn too, right? They're aware that on an eco round, a lot of teams like to try and just go fast toward the middle of the map and get onto B and just get the plant, right? Because it's a very reliable place to get the plant a lot of the time. You don't meet necessarily the heaviest resistance on B in terms of players, but with Goofy dying, you have no flashes. So you can't just force your way onto the B site.
Still a pretty linear hit, though, all things considered. Just straight onto this A site. That's all they want. Stuff's going back site. That's been pretty big today in terms of frags, but Rhythm is the one coming up with the goods right now. Go finds their way into the corner, finds a three-piece and shuts me right up. Goodness gracious, I said no frags and he says, you're welcome, here's 3.
This is what we saw from Septico yesterday toward the A site, right? It was such an annoyance for Lake Braddock when they tried to force toward A. Septico uses those guiding lights so effectively against fast pushes, and then the Trailblazer to get that slower information and deny opportunities to the attacking team. Septico will hold onto that A long control, and even when he gives it, he's still just so annoying to actually worm off the A site.
And it's that push all the way up to A long that really did it for him. That put him in just a weird position, and albeit being on an off angle, didn't quite make it all the way in the corner to start out. It was a reposition enough to throw Hebron off the scent. Now Hebron just 2 rounds out from losing this map. This is the one you want to win. You don't want to let it go any later than this, Paul. What's the setup look like? Your default for them feeling it out. I think the big problem for me is even after this is fake. Oh, this is bait. Ritzy's committing to the bit too. Oh no, they've just left the A side open. They're gonna waltz on here like a kid in a candy store. I think Brooklyn Tech has started to sniff this one through though. You're watching the sky. Back in the defender spawn. That is the big tell for whether or not this has worked, and I think it has. Everyone gets on. Ritzy gives their life for the cause, but Hebron think they stand better chances at a 4v5 in the post plant than they do 5v5 without a spike down.
Rolling Thunder here has to be the game changer for Hebron. Seekers are gonna let Brooklyn Tech know that there's nobody really playing on the site here. So how much value does this Rolling Thunder get? Playing pretty far back right now, Goofy.
Oh, a bit of a rough start as the members get traded out. Rolling Thunder still there. Eco gets pulled off the spike once. There's a lot of stall tools here, but Hebron stall is not the name of the game. You need to kill players eventually at some point in time, or else they're going to come to you. Goofy taking the honors. Rhythm, despite being hit, just does it anyways. Goes for the peak. Even trade that effectively. Makes that fake worth it. But how many times can you pull trick plays out? It happened in the last half. They had a couple of just absolutely perfect tactical rounds, and then the rest of them were stinkers. Is this half going to be the same? Are we just going to see just moments of perfect play followed up by tragedy?
I mean, it's a good util post plant, but yeah, you only have the Rolling Thunder once in a while, right? So you can't do that all the time. Rhythm is 1 orb off of that Hunter's Fury, so you can play for this C-Long orb and do something similar. The Gravity Well, still a very great tool for these long-range post plants that Hebron thus far have found some success with. Nobody's going to be sticking on C. Brooklyn Tech, no one's coming that way. Eco's not giving his life to hold on to C this time. It's not a fake from Ritzy. It'll be a 5v5 retake. Assuming no one gets caught by this Hunter's Fury. That's one tag, but no follow-up.
Tragic has a flank, though. This angle's huge. This angle is massive. Oh, and he's taking his sweet time. Oh, it feels good. It feels good to be in this angle. Tragic's got a power play in for 2. Could have been a little bit more, but does manage to land a little bit of damage down on the remaining players of Brooklyn Tech. That brings the numbers down to dead even. 3 members down long. It's a shooting range. I hope you've played your Kovacs. I hope you played your aim trainer. That is all this is in the Wild Wild West. It's all about draw time. Flash in. Majestic nuts away. Spike pulled. Gravity Well's out. No more util. Just gun. Septico brings it to the table. Gets shot out by Goofy, who's good for another one. Hebron is ready down the firing lane and is coming for Brooklyn Tech in their 11 rounds.
Can I get a Vandal differential right there for Septico? The Phantom knocking Goofy down to 10 health. If Septico had a Vandal, he hits that headshot, then he's maybe good for at least challenging that second fight. But as soon as Septico dies, the angles fall apart for Brooklyn Tech. There's no way to flush out those C-Long players. Oh, it just gets more and more difficult now for Brooklyn Tech.
He's pressing the gas pedal.
Yeah, they're going straight for it once again. These C-takes have been really strong. There's not enough players from Brooklyn Tech holding on to these positions. Oh! Tragic.
Dude, wait.
Not gonna lie,
No,
buddy.
this is bad. This is bad now. You really wanted that picking garage. It means 3 members are here to defend this site. Tragic still trying to defend the flank. Misses another shot. It's all falling apart for Brooklyn Tech. Now it's just Tragic, the tour de force. I mean, you got 3 shots left in it. 3 players remaining on the other side. It's a prayer. At best, Paul, it's a prayer.
Well, I mean, he's getting flanked. He's getting Trailblazer here. Has to use one of those on the Trailblazer, the Tasmanian Devil. And he's only like vaguely aware that C was holding on over here.
Look, I
easy
really
pick up.
I really hate putting things on one player, but for that round, I'll be honest, Tragic missing that shot in mid really put a wrench in the works for his team.
It's definitely
bummer.
rough. The problem isn't so much that he misses the shot. The problem is like what that does to the map, right?
Exactly. It
The
allows
fact
the
that
player to
cool
rotate back
username-
3v5.
Exactly. He comes back to
like-
site. He spams through that smoke with the Spectre. It buys time too, because then you're worried about that garage player. You lose the spike. There's 4 players on C all of a sudden. Brutal stuff.
And it was such a good play before then too. Like everything was set up to
Oh,
take.
absolutely.
It would have been a garage pick, 4v2 on site, easy push after that. Map control is great. They would have caught the flank as well coming in from the jet. Like everything was in line there. But one domino just misses the next, and unfortunately that means it's match point, or map point rather, for Brooklyn Tech trying to take this one onto a third map.
Inching their way back towards A as well. Septicone Siwa, they've been heroes for Brooklyn Tech before. All they have to do is put up one more good performance, and we are on to a map 3. Fast play from Hebron. Siwa already looking for a fight. Not quite finding it, though. Has to dash out of the danger. He gets picked up, too. Oh, no! And Septicone drops his spaghetti everywhere!
Oh, dear God. That's not a moment you want to have in the finals. We talked about one missed off shot. That was a whole mag. Happens to the best of us, though. And when the pressure's this high, you can't blame them. 5v3 now is Brooklyn Tech. Feel what was a certain game slowly slipping. They still got to lose a few more rounds before it gets really dicey, though. Eco from Heaven finds one. Knows where a second is around the corner. Pings it for the rest of his team, but dropping from Heaven becomes all the more difficult now as the trades come in. 3v1 now. Brooklyn Tech, in their hopes of ending this thing early, lie on the shoulders of cool username 366. Goes down. Ritzy thinks about bags. Decides, you know what? You've earned my respect at this point.
You can actually determine the rounds in like how first contact goes. It's kind of crazy. Hebron, if they get onto site and they get a couple of players, right? They get themselves in a good post plant scenario. Brooklyn have lost their way to actually retake a lot of these times. Hebron are having good long-range post plants. They're anticipating Brooklyn's tendencies, their strategies, what Brooklyn wants to do on these post plants. But if Brooklyn can shut down 1-2 players in the early round, if this shot can land from Siwa, no, he's forced off the angle. He has to fall all the way back.
No, he doesn't.
This one's there. Oh, but the wide swing quickly from Ritzy shuts it down.
All right, there's that early advantage, but it's not for the side that usually wants it. Hebron getting on site, even 5v5 is usually good for them. 5v4, they're very happy campers.
I mean, there's no ults for Brooklyn either, right? They're playing into the Hunter's Fury, the Cosmic Divide, completely keeping them off of this site. Septico is set up for a good flash out of Heaven here, but the timing has to be perfect with the rest of the Brooklyn swingers, and it just does not happen at all. Ooh.
I mean, there's good trades here. 3v2, but you're pushing through the Cosmic Divide. Now my question, Paul, as this round is pretty much certain, what's the econ like for Brooklyn Tech? We've been kind of considering it a null point, considering how many rounds they won prior to this, but Majestic Nuts, is there a realm where you want to keep this weapon?
Yeah, he's absolutely going to try and keep the rifle. I mean, there's not enough for Brooklyn Tech. We're up to double digits now for Hebron. Double digits. They didn't even have to use the Hunter's Fury. It was just the Cosmic Divide. And slight missed. I mean, it's a rough place to try and swing out of for Brooklyn Tech. I don't want to, hit too heavily on that one, but just that inch of mistiming and a couple players from Hebron playing counter flash as well behind that default box.
Nice.
So a rough economic round for Brooklyn Tech. They're gonna have to save outside of that one saved rifle from the previous round. And there's no ults to buffer this economy. The Tour de Force, the Blade Storm, they're not up for Brooklyn Tech. So it is pretty much just a straight up light buy.
Brooklyn Tech. This is when you start sweating just a little bit. That lead is dwindled, to say the least. A quick reminder, our MVP, or one of our MVP candidates, rather, on the side of Hebron in Goofy. We're going to win this would, of course, feel fantastic. Brooklyn Tech want to shut that down. We've got other games going on as well. Rocket League, Rainbow Six, COD, all with more MVP candidates in the running. And if everybody's performing like this, man, the level of competition has got to be high. Tragic looking for an early play here for Hebron. Playing aggressive. They're feeling themselves, and Ritzy and Rhythm there to follow up on the beat.
Yeah, I mean, this is pretty much done and dusted in this round. Even with Ritzy on low health, even if Eco gets that one, there's just too much you're working against. Cool username. Able to run down Goofy with a Spectre, but Cost him a lot of health. 11-12. We are 1 round from overtime here, Dor, in our map number 2. Hebron fighting back from that 8-4 deficit. At one point, 7-2 deficit that they found themselves in. They've got the Hunter's Fury that they've just been holding in their pocket for a while. At least it's answered on the other side. Brooklyn, what do they even do here, man?
I see the play. I see the play. They play early to get the orb, get Seekers up, get the cabbages online, and I think you play post plant with the cabbages. It at least seems to be what Brooklyn Tech are thinking. It's absolutely the right play.
Majestic Nuts, he's going pretty far forward here.
They get it. That Seeker's
Catches
online.
it. Nice.
It's going well.
And that's the one ult you were worried about too. Gone for Hebron. You don't have to worry about the Hunter's Fury for the rest of this half now. Great stop here from Cool Username too. Just completely locking out Garage. That C hit's not coming anytime soon. And Siwa pinching from long. Oh, he's doubling back for more and he gets more. That's Siwa.
And damage onto Tragic at that. Tragic feeling the hurt. And now no map control. No nothing. I mean, this is a miracle round it's going to take, especially with Hunter's Fury and Seekers online. Brooklyn Tech can throw everything at this, and you're not going to feel too good. I like the way they're playing this as well. Back, listening for footsteps. They'll take their 4v2 retake. They don't care if the spike goes down.
I'd like to see Hebron actually push a little bit further once they clear this site out and try to find the player you expect to be hanging on in a link. But nah, they're going to give up the game before that. Yeah, they're going to use that fault line early, use the Aftershock to clear back site. They don't have smokes either, so when this Hunter's Fury comes in, they're forced out into the open, and that's Septico picking off one for free. Seeker's going to isolate Goofy. He's going to desperately try to run all the way to the other side of the map. Maybe he'll have time,
Can you get there 24
I'm
seconds?
not giving him good odds in the 1v4.
Okay, yeah, you can clear. 4 seconds. You got to clear. There's an Omen in the
I
hall.
mean, he can get there. The problem is
I'm doing mental, but you got to clear 2 players.
Yeah,
one
it's
good
not
spray,
happening.
maybe.
That's Brooklyn Tech.
Oh my goodness, Paul, we're going to map 3. What we've been asking
I
for
wouldn't
this
have it any
entire
other way.
time, but my God, are they making it close?
I mean, credit where it's due to Hebron. Compared to their Haven yesterday, that was night and day difference, right? They didn't get 13-2'd. It was neck and neck, and they really found their footing on that attacking side. I loved a lot of those executes. You can tell that they're very comfortable on this composition. I think they just didn't necessarily get a chance to play too much on that attacking side. It's the defense where Hebron struggled a little bit, right? Outside of a couple of really clean retakes from them, they just lost too much map control in a lot of those early rounds. There were some really clever plays from Hebron, but it wasn't quite enough.
Yeah, the good rounds were fantastic. We had somebody watching this entire time, and I don't know. We're going to bring Chris Puckett back in, and I'm not sure if your blood pressure is as high or higher than mine, and I'm not just saying that because you're old. That match was intense.
I'm a boomer for sure. 36 years and still good looking. Ladies and gentlemen, as a Manhattan local here, as a New York local, I am sweating with you. New York was talking so much trash in the chat saying, we're the greatest state. We've got all of the best high schools. All of a sudden, Texas starts making us feel uncomfortable. At the end, though, we're going to a game 3. Brooklyn Tech pulling it out. And honestly, for me, I was just watching Siwa. When he was having success on the attacks, Brooklyn was rolling. Second half, it looks like Hebron was purposely shutting him down. The defense just wasn't as strong, and I thought we were heading to another overtime door. Headshots on both sides. Everyone's connecting tonight. The difference might come down to the executes, and if you're looking on paper, I think Hebron has showed us the most impressive, but Brooklyn may be more consistent.
Yeah, Brooklyn, I mean, on that map in particular, is definitely more consistent, but we talked before the map about how deep is the playbook for Hebron. How far does it go? Map 1, I think they knew they were going to take things to Ascent, virtually no matter what. It just seemed like the pick that seemed the most obvious. If you ban out Haven, force the Fracture ban, you know exactly where it's going. You can plan your counter strats. But planning counter strats for 2-3 maps deep, it gets more difficult. And what we saw, Hebron were figuring it out on the fly, and you would see, they'd figure it out. They'd say, hey, this is what the other team's doing. Here's going to be our counter strat. And then they throw it out. It makes for just like the most beautiful round you've ever seen, but it's 1 in every like 5 rounds. And that's not enough to win that kind of map. And now we go further into the series, the kind of instinctual play that Brooklyn Tech have becomes more prevalent as Hebron's playbook begins to thin.
All right, we have a commercial break coming up. During the break, I want you guys to argue who is better, Texas or New York? What's the greater state? Who has the better high schools? Who's got the better looking jerseys on the main stage? We got a map 3 coming up, meaning $50 are going out to one lucky winner in the chat. We got your Valorant points in a game 3 of the HSEL Valorant Nationals Finals on the other side of this break. At the end of our show tonight, we will be awarding our MVP to one lucky winner. They'll be taking home the $1,000 scholarship as well as a brand new gaming PC. Awesome stuff here. Shout out to Acer, shout out to AMD, and everyone behind the scenes making the HSEL possible. We're here for the Valorant Finals, and what a final we have. After a pretty quick game number 1, game 2 goes the distance, and now we're going to a game 3. If you look at our teams that are competing, when we go to game 3's doors, especially if your name's Hebron, you like to win in overtime.
Yeah, they've been around the block a couple of times. They've played all these maps. They haven't played Fracture, but I don't think we get it here. I think that's an easy ban for Brooklyn Tech. But especially considering there's only 2 maps left, this gets really, really, really weird for both these teams. Brooklyn Tech aren't super familiar with going to map 3s. Hebron are, but at the same time, nobody likes going to map 3 right about now.
And Paul, this is a rematch, of course, from the upper bracket. We saw the game 3 decider was on Breeze back then. Are you seeing Fracture in my future? Is it a replay of the upper bracket? How does this shake out?
There's no. Paul's never more of a believer in Fracture than I am.
You know,
Really?
the crazy thing is, Dor, I have somewhat. I think the odds have shot up from like 1 in 50 was what I said earlier. I think it's like 1 in 5 now. Honestly, I think there's an outside chance of it because keep in mind, like Puckett said, they lost Breeze in the tiebreaker in that upper bracket semifinal. They've been banning Breeze, Brooklyn that is, all day long. So do you really want to go back to Breeze? The map that yesterday, Hebron
yesterday they
13-2'd Lake Braddock on?
Yeah.
I think there's an outside chance that we could actually see Fracture.
For all the Rocket League, Call of Duty chess players that are joining us in the chat right now, Fracture, by the way, doesn't play like any other Valorant map. Imagine you're playing Call of Duty with 3 lanes and someone just puts the middle lane underwater. It's just in the middle of nowhere. It plays wonky. It's got all kinds of different looks in it, and we haven't seen it at all in this tournament. That's why we're getting excited as commentators. But honestly, I think if you're taking a step back, you're looking at the big picture. This is an epic story. We have our fall champions in Hebron going up against Brooklyn Tech, who has been getting better as the 4 sophomores and the junior have been improving across the year. They're the team coming out of the upper bracket. They got slapped in the face first here in this best of 3, and now they have a chance to seal the deal and claim this national title. Otherwise, what a comeback story this has been, Dor, for Hebron coming down from the lower bracket all the way back up to the top.
And they look really good doing it, but like I mentioned earlier, the further you take them out of their prep, the weirder and the worse it looks for them. So map 1, clearly prep. Map 2, clearly prep. Paul, you brought up a great point with the Fracture, though. Like, if you pick Fracture, you take away all the prep. You bring it down to aim, you bring it down to instinct, and that's something that Brooklyn has in spades. It'd be a really gutsy thing to do to leave it up. I'm not sure if the pick ban works out that they still get the ban if there's only 2 maps, because then it effectively
Let's break it down for you here, Dor. I just talked to the admins. Now, here is the rules. We have Ascent, Breeze, Fracture, and Haven in the map pool. As we know from map 2 and 3, winner gets a ban, loser gets to pick. You cannot pick the map that you just played, but you can pick a map that was previously in this series. So that means Ascent is coming up for a game number 3. And gentlemen, it is time to kick off our Valorant Grand Finals here at the HSEL Nationals. Let's kick it off with Paul and Dor on the mic. Brooklyn Tech versus the incredible Texas squad. Can they get it done from Hebron?
What an intro by Puckett. But okay, after our brains were melted out of our ears, we got things cleared up. You can repick the maps, which makes it much less awkward, if we're being completely honest with ourselves. This is way
There's no reason
better
not
for
to go
Hebron.
back to Ascension.
Yeah,
right?
you take this every day of the week and on Sunday.
Yeah, I mean, there was no... with this being the case,
They did leave Fracture up, which is the funny part.
Yeah,
they banned
there's
Breeze.
no good option for Brooklyn, right? Because you ban Fracture and you give Breeze or Ascent, 2 maps you've already lost on. So you have to ban one of them, but then Hebron's just gonna go to the other one. So, I mean, you know, it's pick your poison for Brooklyn. This map was at least somewhat close. Brooklyn, they have not had a lot of time to think about how they want to do this differently, though, Dor.
Yeah, they kind of hovered a Killjoy, which I would have liked to see because Hebron were kind of bringing the same heat that Brooklyn were earlier on in those aggressive plays. And if you're not going to play the Astra like Exit has, which is a great tool for slowing teams down if they want to play really fast, the Killjoy is kind of the next tool that you go to down that lineup. But look, man, it's Brooklyn Tech's world. We're just living in it. They're sticking to their guns, and they're bringing this chamber back to the table. Not going for that early B rush, though, and... well, I suppose it's Hebron on the attacking side to start out, so we're not expecting that early B rush, but they will apply some pressure for sure.
It's a bait, though. The spike is actually toward A main. Majestic Nuts is here. We'll get the early contact of at least one player. Here's several coming, too. But Brooklyn actually don't know where this is going right now because they're still worried about that B main pressure. So these rotates are super late, and it's going to just be a full 5v5 retake here.
Well done by Hebron. Good job to Brooklyn Tech for respecting and getting out, but overall an advantageous position for the attackers. They also have a late lurk coming in through mid. Ritzy is on a scary position. Siwa's got that door closed, has the ability to clear this pretty quickly, but that is, I believe, a frenzy around the corner. That is not an often-won gunfight, but Siwa just politely says no thank you. Oh, this cheeky angles, but no. Trades either way. Rhythm at the end of the day, the only man standing. Siwa now 1v2. Sheriff is tricky here. Rhythm has aim, but not the goods. Eco in the post plant wins it for Brooklyn Tech.
It's
a finals, that's for sure, Paul.
It's a finals, dude. You wouldn't want anything else. I'm hoping we get a really close map number 3 here. Brooklyn, they get a pistol, which they didn't get the last time we were on Ascent at all, right? So that's already a pretty good start for Brooklyn Tech. A much better start than they had in either half when we saw it earlier this series. Definitely dicey. I mean, it literally just came down to Eco being a clutch god with that that classic in his hand. At least we get the anti-eco now. The it's weird to say anti-eco when there's like a player named Eco. You know what I mean? Like every round for Hebron is technically an anti-eco.
I hate you. I hate you. I was not taking that for like it's too low hanging. It's too easy of a joke. And
you know me, Dora. I will take the lowest hanging joke. Hello?
Cool username's playing a horror game. What is going on? Dude, it's the second round. Chill out. Brooklyn Tech are the ones on the... What's happening? Brooklyn Tech are playing a horde shooter right now. It's Call of Duty Zombies.
I was gonna say,
oh my god.
They're playing Back for Blood, dude.
Hebron looked rabid.
Oh, I'm lightheaded, dude. Oh my word, I'm lightheaded. Okay, all right. Let's focus in here. Only 2 Spectres remained there for Brooklyn Tech. They didn't quite save enough to where they feel comfortable getting a rifle or any other stronger guns for themselves. So not the strongest bonus we've ever seen from Brooklyn Tech. They're going to play pretty heavy into A main, but this is where Hebron are just going to overwhelm these 2 players, presumably. Yeah, they got to get out of there.
Yeah, it kind of worked, because when you're talking about playing on the defending side, living with 2 members alive isn't really it, because you don't have the advantage of having like plant money like you would on an attacking side to help bolster your economy to take that extra man blow on your bonus round. So now they're working at significantly less weaponry, but I've seen Siwa work some magic with the Sheriff. Cool username doing the same.
Yeah, not a bad shot there. Owl drone too. Hello, that wall is spammable. All right. Either way. The Aldrone actually not getting much either, but
Oh,
this flank
stop
has
it.
certainly worked out well. Tragic gone. No shots to hit the head under today. It's
Oh,
Majestic Nuts in the
gosh.
kill feed instead. Goofy in a 1v4 to win this anti-bonus, and he can't hit anything. Brooklyn out of the gate with some heat on a set.
Dude, 4 alive on any other round, you're like, yay, we get to save our guns. 4 alive on an anti-bonus.
Steal them.
Yeah, you steal weapons, which is like, you're not just making money by winning the round effectively thrifty, right? They only had 2 submachine guns going into that round, but you pick up more money off the ground. They're rolling in it right now. Look at the cash. Siwa's got 7,000 credits in round 4.
That's 10,000 credits that they pick up from Hebron.
Yeah,
And
you
then
ever
they
just
get
walk down
another
the road and drop a
15,000
few $100
money.
bills and just leave them there?
It is daylight
Effectively what
robbery,
Hebron
that's
just
for
did.
sure. I mean, Hebron trying to go back to what they did. It worked earlier before. Majestic Nuts knows what worked for them, though. That's a great little angle for him to hold. It does give 1 rifle over, but, I mean, unless Rhythm does something insane here, yeah, it's not going to matter too much. Tragic doing what he can with the Headhunter. That's what we expect of him, but a 1v3 seems pretty difficult, especially when that late flank is coming around from Siwa, containing him. Actually, if Siwa dies here, that is a rifle. Never mind.
Oh boy, dude,
Not an
this
issue.
is bad for Hebron in like every sense of it. We saw what happened on Haven once they started getting into those the mixed buy rounds, and we started getting rifle pistol. They floundered, dude. It did not look pretty. And then I think one of the biggest things for me was during all that time when they did get their rifle rounds, we saw later on it really caused them to panic. They were going for plays that they really didn't have any right going for. They were making decisions that they wouldn't make if they were, totally right in the mind if they weren't nervous.
Yeah.
And I think you're like very early being put in the same position by Brooklyn Tech. What Brooklyn Tech now needs to do with this position is milk it for all it's worth. Get everything out of it that you can. Every round counts now.
Hebron have at least chosen the correct site. There was only 1 player hanging around, and Eco's not going to give his life to maybe trade on the site. So instead, it will be a 5v5 retake. Only 1 player off site right now. It's Tragic all the way deep in B main. Nice pick from Ritzy. This gets really dicey really quickly. Brooklyn Tech want to go fast. They want to just rush on in here. They're going to be able to. Paranoia, beautifully done. That's 2 already for Septico, and you know the last 2 are back site. Right-click classic out. That's dangerous. You got to really get up close, and Goofy giving him 4 back. Holds the line for Hebron.
Yeah, with 2 alive. Again, Econ is going to be a really big talking point this game because Hebron just don't have it. And they still don't after that round. Tragic has got just short of a rifle buy. Same goes for Exit, so
He's gonna have the
they'll
tour
scrap
force.
together what they can. Yeah, tour de force is up, so they can get a buy on deck here. But not much following this round, whereas Brooklyn Tech are still rolling in money, even should they lose this round, and ultimates. In fact, both teams, just a whole smorgasbord of them. I would imagine some of them will be thrown out early here. Pretty quick push it's looking like for Hebron. If they could throw in a null command, that stops the dash away from Siwa, but still gets away scot-free. Keeps all the armor intact as well. 4 members now rotate in for Brooklyn Tech, as the defensive play has been perfect. Despite the Cosmic Divide being here, all the members are here, and it just takes 1 push. Immediately, all 4 members of Brooklyn Tech close. The trap cinches in on Hebron, and they all fall.
So good there from Brooklyn Tech. You have Septico watching for that early lane contact, alleviating pressure from the op of Siwa. You have 2 players pushing through the Cosmic Divide, making sure that there's a pinch so that Siwa doesn't get pushed from stairs. That's an operator you can't get off the site and you can't walk into. Hebron didn't stand a chance. Now, after just 1 round win, their economy is already back in the pits here, Dor. They used 3 of their 4 ultimates to make that happen, too. At least there's a Blade Storm up for Ritzy, but it's going to have to be a real hero to pull out a Thrifty here.
This is exactly the purgatory that we talked about before. Buy Eco, buy Eco, buy Eco.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a little better than that with a Blade Storm, but it's a little worse than that now. Cool username. Second. Looking for a third. I'm not even sure what he was aiming at that point. He just like decided, you know what? It's time to look at the wall so we can hit a cool flick for the 3rd kill. Looking for a 4th. Oh my god. I thought it was a headshot, but no, he's half HP. False alarm, ladies and gentlemen. Unless Goofy picks up 3 more, I do not need to scream again. It's Brooklyn Tech picking up another round.
I really like that from Brooklyn, too, right? When cool username gets 2 in mid. Brooklyn realized, hey, it's a mid eco. Let's just push. And they just overwhelm Hebron. There's no chance for Hebron to like isolate Cool Username, overwhelm him with like 3 sheriffs, trade a rifle, maybe make the round dicey. There's still 5 ults up for Brooklyn Tech, by the way. They've won these last 2 without having to spend pretty much anything. Siwa with the op, I mean, not going to get close contact, it seems, in this round, but like, you've still got no command. You've still got Hunter's Fury for a potential retake on B. You've got an op holding on to A too. At least Hebron are doing what they did earlier, which is avoiding that early intel and then taking some free map control. They see that that 0 point rather go toward A, and they know, hey, they're gonna fall off after that. They think we're not on this side of the map now. This is something that Hebron did a lot the first time we played Ascent in this series, and it got them a lot of space. Oh, that's good.
Safe space here. That's a net of a kill. Siwa's gonna play with a great position as well. This operator playing from tree can be dangerous. Spike hasn't even gone down yet. 3v4. Septico's coming in. 4v2. Dude, the numbers just keep going down. Whether it's economy, whether it's players, Brooklyn Tech are large and in charge. She was having fun. Do it. Do it. I see you want to. Bend the knees. Doesn't give it back to him.
The young guns of Brooklyn not letting Hebron breathe. I want to give a shout out to Septico, right? We've talked about this guy a lot this weekend. Has an amazing adjustment to stop these A hits. Is using the fragment to deny closing the switch. That dealt so much damage to Tragic. It allowed space for Brooklyn Tech to quickly come in and disrupt that spike, because you don't want to plant the spike while the door is still open, right? So the door starts closing and then Brooklyn Tech are already there. It's a great tiny adjustment in utility that Hebron have no way to counteract. Goodbye.
And look, I know the economy is not great, but it does feel a little bit like Hebron's playbook is running particularly thin. The pages have been torn out and shredded by the IGL of Brooklyn Tech. Now you're locked in tree against a shorty. Siwa's just doing this because he can. He had not. We saw that same play yesterday. The same exact one. Oh, they can't keep getting away with it, Paul. 3v2. Weapons will be upgraded here for the remaining players of Hebron, but they've only got 1.5 members worth of health.
I mean, Brooklyn have no fear. they fear nothing. I mean,
and honestly, it's the right move to keep playing fast like this. Just keep the pressure up. Don't let Hebron breathe. Don't give them anything. Just keep the game going. Keep the points flowing in your favor. Give them no time to stop.
I mean, Majestic Nuts just tanked the recon dart to get that first pick, right? Eventually gets isolated by Exit. It is a winnable round. 1v2, but there's no stars available. So Exit just have to take these fights dry. Yeah.
Oh
unbelievable from Brooklyn Tech thus far in this defense, dude.
This is problematic for Hebron. Yeah. It's been beautiful play from Brooklyn Tech. And it was what we were talking about earlier, right? The longer the series goes on, the less that playbook matters, the more you get into instinct and just raw gameplay. And in grand finals, that comes in clutch, right? And clutch is enough of a factor in its own right.
Yeah.
Gonna wait this one out. Let him pick up that operator. Sheriff. Money is not an object for Brooklyn Tech, that's for sure.
Yeah, right?
Hebron. I get it. Dude, do you even like you have to think about the remaining rounds in this half. You've got a couple of rifle buys still left on you. They're going to get one here. Maybe they can put together an 8-4 half off the back of this. Right? But the second you get into... I mean, it wouldn't even be 9-3 because they'd be back on another eco. It'd be 10-2.
I just don't even know where you begin for Hebron, right? Because they've really liked their fast floods. Their quick executes towards site. But Brooklyn Tech, like, throughout the day, like, they've had to play another map of Valorant while figuring out Hebron. And now they know exactly what Hebron are going to do on both sites here, right? They know the exact strategies. Hey, they're going to wait out our knife. Then they're going to push into A on or on the other side of things. They're going to smoke off market and they're going to smoke off defender spawn, and then they'll send Ritzy out to hit the switch. They'll have 3 players go to A. It's the same linear executes every single time. I think I'd like to see Hebron maybe pivot a little bit toward that mid control early, make Brooklyn Tech start to wonder where you're going to go in each of these rounds, because the we're going A or we're going B strats just have not been working.
No, and getting out some of that early util as well, the fragment grenade that we were talking about earlier that was so useful in shutting down a lot of the plays that Septico's been using phenomenally. I do think this timeout is quite fortuitous for Hebron. You're quite thankful for it because they don't have tag pods. Everything has been just straight to the finish line, railroad all the way there. A Jet DC is, I mean, you'll take whatever time you can get to talk shop about this game because goodness gracious, they need it. And you mentioned a couple of ideas, right? Taking it towards mid, slowing the play down, trying to play a couple of rotates, but at the same time, outside of tactical differences, you've really got to find a point to reset your mental. I do think this round is it. I think taking it to not even an 8-4 half, but just winning this round, getting a gun round on the board and stopping it from going 10-2, just keeping it like 9-3 curse range is huge for their mental. This round and its impact can't really be overstated. And the fact that they get a tech pause before it, I'm not accusing them of anything, of course. It's very fortunate. Yeah, it is what look, it's remote broadcast. We'd love to get him out on land, but look, yeah, it is what it is. They need this time, and they're very happy to get it.
I just want to center back on Brooklyn for a second, right? Because how unbelievably impressive is it that, like, somehow while playing Haven, they just magically flipped the switch and fully dissected these executes from Hebron, right? Like, they know exactly where they want to be holding to stop these. They know how they want to play these retake scenarios. That fragment that I was talking about towards A, or Eco falling off of B, and then you swing through the Cosmic Divide together. Siwa playing with the op toward B, just completely shutting down these fast hits, right? The early contact is something that we talked about on Haven, and it's been going so well for Brooklyn thus far on Ascent.
I mean, those first picks, that early contact is something that's going to be a through point through the entire series. Whereas, I mean, when you think about it, right, counter strats are good for 13 rounds in a series. That's the most you're going to get out of them. Because you win that map and then it's gone, and then maybe you come back to it later, but your hand's been played. Your cards are out of the sleeve. It seems to be so for Hebron. Now they've got to invent new cards with new letters and numbers on them. Maybe combine both. Draw some nice faces. Give the queen a mustache.
Okay.
You got my point is you got to get creative.
This is important for Hebron, Dor. They spotted Septico, but they're nervous to fight him. That's
I would
smoke
be too.
I mean, it allows them to flash out. Oh, exit turns it though. Good counter flash play there. And that's going to pull a lot of the rotates from Brooklyn Tech. The spike is still over toward B. This is a huge adjustment for Hebron, but they need to not get spotted going through mid. C was already on A too, so he knows it's not fast play toward A. Brooklyn Tech have some time to think.
Let's have the TP off this angle. Another opportunity to find an early pick. And usually when these early picks go Hebron's way, it's pretty decisive. Because Brooklyn Tech have relied on them so much, but right now it doesn't really seem so. It seems like Hebron are scared. For good reason. A lot rides on this round. They know it. Back to the A hit. Minor read here from Brooklyn Tech. They'll have quick rotates. Oh, wait. Something gave them the info. They're rotating 2 players over. What told them this? I'm not sure. Oh, no. It could have been real bad there as the Collat nearly comes through. Fortunately for Hebron, it's just one.
Bro, the null command, the only thing keeping Hebron alive there, dude. Ooh, nice position too from Goofy. A swing, but nothing to back it up. The problem is the spike is down. There's no time to plan.
Oh, no.
Eco comes around too and ruins Hebron's day. They were so close, but not close enough.
And Brooklyn Tech looks so good. You can hear the horns of the parade begin to march as victory is in their sights. Gonna knock the Econ of Hebron back down on its knees one more time. They're gonna buy in with light armor to try and put anything up on the board should they lose this, though. I mean, that is the half good and well done, possibly an 11-1 scoreline.
Are we going to see another 10-2 half on Ascent? This would be our third one of this weekend to start off
I think Brooklyn Tech may, if they win this, they may one-up themselves. They may go 11-1, which would just be insane.
It's certainly possible. Jeez. All right. Look at how nervous Hebron are too, comparatively to like those fast hits that we saw them succeed with earlier, right? It's night and day difference from the first Ascent we played. Hebron, they never slowed down on their attacking side when they won this map earlier today. That's a really good timing though. Expecting someone to actually come out B main for that information, but they have no idea about cool username. At least it's traded back. So good advantages for Hebron.
Look at that. Even after 2 picks. Dude, I hope they brought their anti-vibration boots because they are quaking in them. Now in Wine, they've got to deal with Septico. Dude, Brooklyn Tech, they're not even like playing like super like strat. They're just being as annoying as possible, which is the big thing you do when a team's against the wall, when they're sweating, when they're not playing as clean as they possibly could, when they're not checking every single corner, when not everything is perfect. This is what you want to do. You want to ruin their day, and you want to make them check every corner. You want to ruin them for it, and you want to take every last kill that you can get from positions like this. You tell they're thinking about it. Keeping an eyeball on this corner, but Septico, if you just get the right swing timing, it is all over for Hebron. Waiting it out. Still sussing it out, and Tragic is good. Hebron are back in it.
See, we're thinking about going for it, dude. He's got the dash at the ready. He's just hoping somebody pushes him here. And I mean,
He's got
Brooklyn
the
Tech,
money
you've
to
got
do
so
it.
much. You've got so much money. There's no reason not to try and push in and rob some of these guns away from Hebron. No shot off the op though. Now it's just Eco. He's getting spammed too. He's gonna try to actually save this operator. Nice work from him. So he'll get out of
This
there
feels
at least.
petty. I guess saving the operator means that Hebron don't get it, because I don't think Hebron have the money to buy it. So
Exactly. I think that's
on the low it might be like it's a minor value play because it's still attacking side with an operator, but you'll take what you can get.
It's enough, right? You don't want to risk Hebron getting an operator. They haven't had an op this entire time, so if an operator
value than running in one
gifted
before.
to Hebron, then
Yeah.
you run into the problem of Hebron's strategy would adjust around that attacking operator in theory, and that's not something Brooklyn are prepared for. Instead,
On top
they'll
of
just
that,
toss the op back to Siwa.
yeah, I mean, tossing the op back is nice, but as well, keeping the game kind of in your court is the most important thing. And the fact that I think it just tells you a lot about Brooklyn Tech's mental. They're in it right now, and they're fully in the zone. Every last bit of value is being taken from every position, every weapon. Right? There's nothing being left on the table. No scraps for Hebron to pick up.
This is interesting that Septico also has an operator right now.
There's a gun behind him. He has both. You
It
can
is
fall
last
off
round
onto
half.
it.
Yeah, okay, never mind.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's just buying more. See what does get spotted by that Owl Jones, who'll have to fall off deeper. Hebron hoping someone pushes, but Brooklyn, they lost 2 players on pushes for information last round. They're not going to do that again, right? They're just going to hold their ground, especially with all these operators. I mean, they got 2 to force, they got 2 ops on the other side, right? It is so difficult for Hebron to dry peek anywhere.
And they know that I mean, they know one operator's on the board. I imagine finding a second one here would be quite the nasty surprise, especially in the hands of Septico. Dude,
Don't do it, Ritzy. Don't do it.
This
Yeah.
does not feel
Yeah, walk
good to
away.
watch if you're a Hebron fan. I'll be honest.
taking so much
It is
time.
so tense.
They're just
Look, I
gonna have
respect
to
playing
go
for late round.
They're just going to have to go for another hard-hitting execute on B. They do have the null command available, a Hunter's Fury 2 to keep out reinforcements, but they need to trade very well on this fast hit.
The null command does make sure that the chamber can't teleport out nearly as cleanly, though, which is a big, big tool for them because that operator is playing kind of on the basis of that. Eco playing underneath, though. This site is stacked pretty well up. Eco in the corner gets mowed down. Ritzy trades it out. Rhythm in the backside. Majestic Nuts ready for it. Taking the game out of Hebron's hands. Spike picked up 10 seconds on. They've got to get this plant down. Tragic ready for it with the 2 to force around the corner. Op v op now from spawn to garage. And he doesn't take it. Wise play from Hebron as they back away.
See where, I mean, doesn't have a gun, right? You have to pick one up off of the ground here. That's not very easy. Use the Blade Storm in the previous round, so not much opportunity. Doesn't expect the player in B main. Wouldn't have heard the chamber TP from that distance either. Pretty sure he got spotted there too, so I mean, it's just a matter of time before Siwa dies. Does manage to get one, isolates the first fight. A shorty up close and personal. Oh no! Oh no! No, there's no way. He has to just stick it though. He doesn't have time to go for this surely, and Tragic, coming from lane, salvages the final round of the half. Not a pretty one for Hebron, but borderline.
But you'll
acceptable.
take it. Yeah, I mean, you remember what I was talking about.
Compared
Like,
to 11-1, which is what we were thinking.
8-4 was kind of wishful thinking to get at the point at which there were 9 rounds on the opposing side, or 8 rounds on the opposing side. But you knew you were going to go to 9 at some point. You won that important gun round after the DC, and you managed to at least get it to 3. Like, mentally, they're intact now, even if the score isn't, and that's at least a starting point.
Hebron did win quite a few rounds on their defense last time too.
Oh
but
wait,
it was
this fake's gonna go crazy. Hold up. They're gonna send this Cypher in really early towards B garage. make it look like one of those early B pushes, but instead it'll be A. I think it'll be sussed out pretty early by the lobby pressure that Hebron are putting on, but it could be bad. Oh, it's not. The play works out for Hebron. The early pressure looks fantastic for them.
Yeah, and it's just
and they did try to do that.
Lurk through B main too, so not like the full feint that direction. The good news is Majestic Nuts does have B main control. He's got to win this fight though. If he, okay, I got nervous there. If he dies to tragic, I mean, this entire round falls apart. The smoke doesn't stop him though. Ooh, okay.
Ooh, close, not good enough. The flash just short of landing. Leaves exits alive on point though.
Yeah,
This is winnable. This is isolatable. Hold up.
Only one bullet in the head under.
You've got all the time in the world to play this corner. It's awkward, but it's playable. You also have this so you can teleport out. Oh, he doesn't know about the cross now. This is over. Oh, he does now. Rhythm though.
Yeah.
Better gun. Better shots. 9-4. It's a slow but sure. You can't. You're down 9-4. You can't teabag. What?
You absolutely can. You absolutely can. That, bro, you were saying earlier, Dor, how they needed to get their spirits back up. That's how you do that. That's how you get your
They
morale up,
seem,
man.
yeah. The spirits do seem high, to say the least.
And I mean,
Scoreline less so.
Hebron has
but
won
they're doing
most of the
good.
pistols in this series, right? That's 4 for 6 pistols now for Hebron. So they'll walk away with that at least. They'll have a chance to stabilize here a bit. And Brooklyn Tech didn't even get the spike down there, so there's no opportunity for a force. No sheriff's going to be coming into this round either. I doubt we even see too many headhunter bullets from Majestic Nuts, come to think of it.
I like this forward default from Brooklyn Tech. They're just looking to catch any player who's playing aggressive out.
This cross is
something that-
really nice, right? Because it allows the Jet and the Sova to play across. It allows the Astra and the Sova to play across, right? Like, Exith has a really good position alongside cool username, or not cool username, but Rhythm here, right? So it's just hard to dismount this early formation that Hebron used. We saw this earlier from them, and there was hardly a round where Brooklyn Tech were able to put a dent in this crossfire.
And I think the interesting thing is that you can kind of play it two ways, right? You can play it like a triple crossfire, or you can play it as kind of a triple bait, or I guess a double bait angle. And the first time we saw it, we saw it played as a double bait angle. But we've also seen it flip the other way, and that's what makes it so difficult. It's like, even if you get the first piece of information, until you see that player in Boathouse, you don't really know what's going on.
30 seconds left.
And now, like, all you see is Ritzy, and look, Rhythm can swing out for 2, make it 3 without any difficulty. It allows you for so many cheeky plays, right? Because one player rears their head, and the other 2 are hiding. Or maybe one hides, and another one swings, right?
Or you send all 3 at once,
different variable ways to play that round. We even saw earlier, right? Exit just played for contact. He actually got slipped by a lurk from Majestic Nuts, I think. But then Ritzy and Rhythm had really good contact, and when the play pivoted toward B, Brooklyn had no idea that Exit was still hanging around there. The problem is you can only do that so many times before Brooklyn Tech starts to catch on, right? So they're going to work their way toward B now, or toward A rather. And this is a much more vulnerable site.
Yeah. I mean, the answer is just a drone, because once it's found out, you realize there's a 3 stack and you go to the other site. Right now, though, pretty big stack for Hebron over here. 3 members lined up. Actually, 4. Goodness gracious, dude. They got this site surrounded. It's like breaking into the walls of Jericho at this point. They got to walk around it 7 times before they get anything done. Exit just cleans them up. Full username. In for a 1v2. Pushes the smoke. Sick play, but unfortunately just doesn't work out for him. Hebron had locked it down before they'd even stepped foot on B site, or A site rather, soil.
And now Hebron gives Brooklyn a taste of their own medicine. They win their bonus round, shut down Brooklyn's economy. That was such an important round for the future of this game, because we're probably going to be 9-7 here. One more gun round, and we're within spitting distance of a tied game here, Dor. This is so critical. And we're still pretty far from some crucial ultimates for Brooklyn as well, right? So they need to be putting a pretty decent dent in Hebron this round if they want a solid chance at that 5th round of the half.
You're absolutely right, though. I mean, the bonus round was kind of the big wish list ticket item. Knife. No info. That's something Hebron have been really great about, is actually staying back from the knives. They've done it time and time again on both defense and attack, and it's going to work here for him. Stars are out, which makes this double setup even more dangerous. We've seen Brooklyn Tech dismantle it with a good flash drive before, but that was I don't want to say luck, but not a play you get every time, right? Crossfire in mid. Again, another great setup. Brooklyn Tech have these all over the place. Ritzy's going to be first contact. Never mind. Exit.
Yeah.
Catches first contact with a bullet out of Siwa's gun.
A bit of spam damage, but that's not enough to actually get rid of any. Okay, it's enough to get rid of one player. The door does get shut here, so it will be a 3v3. Only one rifle actually stays recovered, and it's on Siwa, who's pretty low health too. So still a pretty decent round for Hebron. They would have gotten, but it was on cool username who died.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Unfortunate. It's up to Siwa, though. I mean, look, if anybody can do it, it's Siwa.
Nice.
Rhythm as well. Good for one.
Great flash.
Flash around the corner. It's late. You got to take 3 down. It's not happening. Nicely done by Hebron. You could tell there was a moment in that round where they kind of... It got loose. They pulled everything together and then made their retake. Something that has been, even throughout the map that they lost, a very, very consistent note for them, the retakes.
And this is a little bit tricky now for Brooklyn Tech. Look what they're playing into on their gun round here, Dor. You're working against the Null Command and the Hunter's Fury. That's tough. That's real tough. And this is such an important round for Brooklyn. They're going to ping pong their economy here. Should they lose this? Yeah, Ritzy with the op.
Like this
He's going to be posted up in B main. This is brutal.
This op buy is really sick. It's followed up by the Sova as well. Going to get a lot of info, but on such a critical round, right? This is where you want to kind of change up the status quo and surprise the other team.
Oh. Uh-oh.
Good info there.
Okay.
Has the teleport out. Oh, no. Oh,
He's stuck.
You are locked in.
Ooh.
Thank gosh. Ritzy's just a little too nervous to hit that shot. Now back.
But now Ritzy can reposition.
The jig's
right?
up.
Can actually go over toward A. And you're anticipating an A take now from Brooklyn Tech because Hebron, they have not posted up in B main. There's no way Brooklyn are checking that. So very heavy A-lean here for Hebron already. Timing.
Tragic on the angle. They're not ready. Cool username is smokes out. Hebron back against the wall. Null Command not been popped by the opposing side. Instead it's Brooklyn Tech. Quicker on the jump. 3v4. We've seen them win this before. Rhythm makes it a trade out. Makes a no-case scenario. 2v3 though. Still far from comfortable. I'm pretty sure we've watched this exact play before, Paul.
The Hunter's Fury did get used, so you're going into this retake dry. There's no Owl Drone. It was used earlier in B main, so you've just got to rush in and win your gunfights. When they have no information either. That recon dart doesn't ping anyone. They know there's going to be at least one player hell. Gotta win this first fight. Okay, Ritzy, it costs him a lot of health.
They're not ready for the
done. Septico behind, though. His position's known, but the fragment's perfect. Beautiful play. Septico doesn't need a gunfight. He'll get you with the grenade.
That was so well played. Septico just would have gotten pre-fired after that, turning it into a 1v1. I mean, they had the reswing, but man, what a big round for Brooklyn Tech, putting themselves on the board in the half and keeping their own economy alive, more important than anything else. It's those streaky sets of rounds, and I mean, you saw it on the other side. Brooklyn putting Hebron on the receiving end of, what, like 9-10 rounds in a very short matter of minutes. Hebron could have done the same thing there had the economy gotten really out of hand, but Brooklyn give themselves a chance, a way into this half.
Brooklyn actually can almost win the game right here. This is the last vestige of Hebron's economy. The Blade Storm buffering a little bit, but the Tour de Force is very far away. There's not much available for Hebron should they lose this round. Already some great mid control from Brooklyn Tech. They're looking to pivot toward A, and there's nobody anywhere near A. This mid pressure has fully sold Hebron on the premise that Brooklyn's going B.
If you're Hebron, are you mad though? You have a Null Command, you have the Cosmic Divide.
Yeah, it's good.
Like, even if you know this, you're like, yeah, I guess they can have B because your retake's crazy. Yeah, I think this is like semi-intentional by Hebron. Like it was if they take B, if they take A, they take A, right? Like it's not the end of the world. And then you can just gamble because they'll never get B.
I'm keeping my eye on cool username. Last time around when he had the Hunter's Fury against the Null Command, he didn't play far enough back. It looks like he's still hanging on pretty close to A main. So that Cosmic Divide, now, I mean, that A main is completely isolated. Same with the Catwalk player who's trying to go for the lurk. Yeah, you're not going to have much fun on site right now. Majestic Nuts at least good for one, but he gets shut down afterwards. You know exactly where Cool Username is going to be playing for. Already the spike halfway diffused. There's nothing Cool Username can do. Even with the shock darts, doesn't even lob them in time to stop that defuse.
And doesn't get away with the gun, unfortunately. That was, I mean, well played by Hebron. That's about the best thing you could ask for. I think the rotate towards A, because look, in a world where they do go A, where they try to split mids A or something like that, that's just a one round for you, like 100% of the time. And if they go back towards A, it's still like strong odds because your retake tools are so crazy.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
It does cost them something though, right? That's 2 ultimates down the drain. Brooklyn Tech, granted, 2 of their ultimates are econ ultimates, which are going to help them out in this round in particular. But they still don't have the teeth necessarily to just win the round outright the same way Hebron did last round, despite having 4 ultimates.
See what does avoid that early 0.2. So this Blade Storm now is going to be fully functional to take some A pressure. A doable round for Brooklyn, but a difficult one. And this time the trademark is up in mid, right? So even though it gets broken, that's good information for Hebron. And they're back to this 3 stack on B, dude. Yeah.
This doesn't deal nearly with the market pressure that Brooklyn Tech are taking on. It's much better for B main pushes. The fact that they have the Astra backside does make it kind of more bearable, but your Jet's just so exposed. If you're KO, who's on this long angle through spawn and up through mid, gets smoked off, gets anythinged off, you're in a really, really unfun place.
Oh, this is huge
and
from Ritzy,
he's been baited off the angle too by the knife. And he was just going to rotate. It's turned so nicely for Brooklyn Tech.
Sorry. Siwa.
He's baiting so hard, dude. He's pulling players.
There's still 3 toward B, though.
The positioning's just not good, though. Ritzy's got to clutch up here. Ritzy's got to find frags, and he does! All 3 members of Brooklyn Tech, despite all of the bullets in their mags, 90 up and not one shot into the head of Ritzy, who stands tall on lever.
Such good work from Ritzy. Even get himself a 4th in the round. And I mean, that's just the Ritzy differential. And the problem with trying to, like, completely push through door, right? Yes, it's a strong position, but it's a very linear one, and it's a small choke point. So Ritzy has a lot of potential angles to play from there. He's got a cross too from exit. So even if you get Ritzy, then you have to get past exit. Then you have to deal with rhythm and logs. It's just a really smart stack from Brooklyn from Hebron rather, that Brooklyn haven't figured out how to beat.
No, and I do think they had the right idea there. I mean, look, I know it's a small choke point. Like, you can spray it and you probably get at least a kill, but Ritzy, like, should have died. 100%. You've got 3 players. It takes a bit of time, but... And after you trade that out, the other 2 players' positions just aren't particularly great for playing that position through.
I think there's room, maybe in future rounds, when they go toward B to, like, put a second player in B main and apply, like, an additional angle of pressure pushing.
Also,
rather than
just like a drone as well.
We're just,
like, we haven't seen them drone that out
here,
ever.
by the way. We're just going to go A, by the way. This is just going to be a hard hit. This smoke is not going to stop it. The fragment will stall, though. Long enough for rotates, too. There's 3 players hanging around over here. Once again, Hebron with a great map read.
That's 4 now. Reinforcements are here. The cavalry's arrived. You're walking into gunfire and a whole lot of it at that. Goofy. Good for 3 on their corner angle. Eco knows where the player is, but unfortunately just doesn't have the firepower. Does stop the plants in time. Turn to a 2v2. Hold up here. It's scary. Now even more so. Eco, 36 HP. Look, hey, it's 2 clicks, 2 heads. I believe. Maybe I shouldn't have.
Poor Eco, dude. He wanted to plant the spike so badly. He's like planting and the recon force off. He's planting and the smoke expires. He's planting and a shock dart comes through. Poor dude. Just didn't have a chance. He wanted so bad to get that spike down and actually
It's even, dude. Oh, gosh. It's even.
We'd want nothing less from our grand finals at Nationals for HSEL, Door.
Look, Paul, I don't have chat up because I don't read chat while I'm casting, but I 100% guarantee you the number of people screaming about 9-3 curses right now has got to be through the roof. Like, this is now, like, we're past joking territory. This is a losing position for Brooklyn Tech. They're down on Econ, they're down on Ultimates. Hebron have their foot on the throats.
Can we see a hero play? We've seen it before. Septico, Siwa. These guys have pulled out Thrifties already this weekend. But it's so tricky. It's hard to expect a player to do that, right? More good mid control from Brooklyn Tech, but what does it actually get them this time around? They get that mid control and already the rotate's being pulled from A. Does Brooklyn get the right idea? Do they pull back towards A site? They've still got a lot of presence in B main, including the spike. No, they're just going to flood out B.
Here's
It
the
looks
problem.
like here, Door.
Right, they're scared of pushing into this and finding that 3-man setup. But if they don't find the 3-man setup, they're also scared of the rotate getting there in time because they're going to have to spend all the time that it takes to clear those angles that the 3-man setup would be there. Hebron have effectively conditioned them through this. It's going to be B no matter what, but I imagine this push that's usually fast isn't going to come as fast as they want it to because, yeah, they're so patient. They're going to knife it. They're going to make sure that nothing's here. Siwa checks it, dashes back, quickly checks log. That's actually a really sick entry by Siwa. Gets him in clean and does all that checking that they needed to do in one dash. Exit now on the backside, looking for anything that you can really get from this position, and a 1-for-1 trade's not bad and buys time for them to come in from the other side of the site. Now, having cinched on Rhythm, overpeaks a little bit, rather ritzy. 3v2, gun in hand for cool username. Oh, but the headhunters dropped for the chamber player as well. This now becoming a lot more difficult to play. Majestic Nuts turns around, pulls out. Sheriff 1v2. HP not great here for cool username. It would be a clutch round. It would be a huge one for Brooklyn Tech to win. Just one swing is all it takes. One bullet in the head of Tragic to win it all. Forces the aim to shift. But there is a scarily long amount of time on this spike.
Cool username doesn't have to peek. Oh, he gets the angle. Cool username saves the day. What discipline at the very end there from cool username to land that. He knows that Tragic is up on lane. He hasn't heard the drop. So after he isolates the 2v1 into a 1v1, he just plays back. He bides his time. He waits for Tragic because Tragic eventually has to go down on to the drop. And then, even then, he doesn't swing him. He lets Tragic play with the idea. Oh, where's he swinging me from? He's not going immediately. I don't know where. And he finds the perfect timing. Cool username saving that round. Holy moly. There's the hero play we were looking for.
It's just in the nick of time for Brooklyn Tech. It allows him another buy, and it makes this dicey. It's no longer a losing position for either team. It's a losing one for Brooklyn Tech. Rhythm catches him out. We haven't seen that play out of Hebron. I don't think
he's
either
only
map.
done that sparingly, right? Like, he
Very
did
much.
that like twice the first time we played Ascent, and that's the first time he's done it this map thus far. So that's like great sparing use of the Odin toward B.
Oh, and this jet position here in Lever is actually really, really weird. Because you've never seen that 3-stack without the specific setup. And with the Odin being played down towards Garage, the jet was the last person you expected to be in that position. Still yet, they get through it. Not scot-free, but giving the other team a couple of scots while they're at it. I really don't understand what a scot is in reference to that saying, but there's still 3v3 on the field.
I think it's like a scuff, right? Like you get hit, you
yeah.
get hit a little bit. Old timey
When's the last time you ever
language.
said
Either
scot
way,
outside of that phrase? Not.
never. 3v3 here. Brooklyn Tech. All on site. They have to hold the line. This smoke doesn't really help either. Tragic is going to get in. Just trying to clear these angles, but the time is running low already. Gotta go quick. Septico down. Cool username once again left a clutch. He doesn't have the health this time, though. The Odin's watching him. One bullet will put him down. Two's what Goofy needs. And we remain tied up. We do. It's good.
He's good. He's good. Okay.
Gotta trust me on that. I know my timings when it comes to
I
this.
know you know that. I always like, look, because the audio is a little weirder coming to us because we want you guys to get the best one, so they prioritize y'all getting good audio. So it's like the beeps are like a little muffled. I'm like, I don't know, but yeah, once you get to sit down, okay, it's pretty certain. Paul's got his pulse on it.
Those are the retakes though that we needed to see from Hebron, right? Like retakes
Yeah.
were the name of the game early on in this series for them. So I'm so glad that they're able to like find the proper way to isolate those angles once again. We haven't seen that from them in a while, but it's good to see him get back to form. This is such a pivotal round, or 11-11. Who is going to get on a Nationals point first,
I
at
mean,
the very least?
Brooklyn almost has to win this. Maybe they have their econ ults coming up next round. Maybe the Jet has knives and the chamber has tour de force, but that's like
See what has to get
if things go
a lot done
right.
in this round to get knives. He's 3 pips off right now.
Oh no.
But he's just open because again they have this null command. Hebron love to retake with the null command, so they stack towards A and mid. They keep good staging grounds for this retake. And Brooklyn Tech, any util that they throw in to get B is an unknowing waste. Like they have to throw it in, but this null command doesn't accomplish anything.
Rhythm just backs away too. So confident. I mentioned picking up that 3rd round in the first half. Look, it sounds so small. It sounds so stupid. But Hebron's mental ever since that round has never been the same. They're playing so much more confidently now. They don't look scared.
Yeah.
They feel like they can really play this game. And now they've got the exact setup that they want. This is what they played that round for. Now Tragic gets a flank as well. It's not quite going to come to fruition as the trademark's there, but he's applying pressure, and that's all that matters.
Here's that null command. Hunter's Fury to try and counter it out. Nice pick from Ritzy over the top. Goofy, good for 1 as well. That's the B main players you no longer have to worry about. It's all on site. Majestic Nuts only good for the 1, and Siwa can't find much either. Once again, cool username left alone, but he's solo. He's just got to play with Tragic's head one more time, but Tragic ain't letting it happen. Not this time. He gets there in plenty of time for the defuse and puts Hebron on Nationals point.
Oh boy, Brooklyn, I hope you brought your lunch to school because you're gonna need to scrounge up every bit of food that you can get. Look at the buy. It's not pretty. It's really, really ugly. At least they have a tour de force. That is the one reprieve that they have. But if it doesn't connect, if it doesn't find something early in this round, you're worried. Hebron knows it's online as well. They're not going to give you anything here. They're not going to peek these angles. They're going to scare you half to death with all the stuff. They've changed their setup as well. No longer on B is it the Astra, the Sova, and the Jet now. They're going to bolster it up with the help from a chamber, making it all the more awkward, making it so that Brooklyn Tech don't know what's coming at them when they see different agents in different positions.
And you could tell that Brooklyn Tech wanted to play toward B main and get Siwa that orb, right? So that way you can have the Blade Storm online. But between the Owl Drone and the Recon Dart both thrown into B main, there's no opportunity for that. So Brooklyn have to pivot towards mid and hope that somebody pushes them. They've seen Goofy top mid before, but this time it's a much more passive position. I'm worried about Brooklyn if they hang around in mid too long without taking deeper space.
Hebron aren't going to give them anything. They know how nervous they are. Hebron's been on the receiving end of this. Hebron has been in this position before.
Right now, dude.
They know exactly what to do. Just keep them, suffocate them. Don't give them anything to work with.
Hebron looks so collected right now, holding exactly where they want to. Oh, Siwa, timing
Nothing
here is
more.
everything.
Nothing more. No, they're not even going to peek it.
Look, they're expecting that switch position, dude, but there's no one there this time.
30 seconds left.
They're pinging it. They're looking for it. They know one's going to be holding lane.
And it's still a 3-stack. It's just a different one. It's a different angle to play from this time. Oh, that's huge info.
Oh, Tragic, good for 1. Things already falling apart.
Oh,
And a
no.
Recon Dart takes the spike down. 13 seconds left. Rhythm swinging for more. He's not giving him a chance. Exit. Rhythm, they shut it down. Hebron with the lower bracket run back, the revenge story, and the Nationals trophy that they were denied in spring. Unbelievable work from Hebron at 13-11 to finish this off door.
Dude, the iron mental. These guys just couldn't take any more plays. Look, they were against throw. They were like halfway over the rim, pushed out of the ring, but goodness, man, dude, they fought back like you wouldn't believe. And it wasn't set strats. That's what it was all game one. Puckett, you're back. You got to watch all that. I'm literally numb in the hands right now. Break it down for me.
Hebron on the comeback tour. That's what we saw all night long, and they closed it out. What a finish. And honestly, that Jet retake to take the lead in the second to last round, that may be the highlight of the tournament for me. Incredible finish, Paul. I don't know what else you can say other than this is the greatest way to go out as a senior in your high school career. Nothing can beat this. Prom, any accolades you had in any other sport, no, throw it out the window. You just won an enormous 9-3 comeback, and you did it in front of everyone here to take home the Nationals trophy. What an impressive performance from the kids down south.
I mean, just unbelievable for Hebron, right? After it was such a rough start to this half, Brooklyn, I gotta give them the shout too, right? The four sophomores
so
and a
well
junior,
played.
they played their absolute hearts out. And this lineup still has such a high ceiling in front of them as they have years before that they're going to be graduating. But Hebron just finding the inches that they needed and really relying on the prep that they had beforehand, right? We talked about that B stack all day long, and they varied it. They threw different versions.
That was the one
of it
play that was
at
really
Brooklyn
consistent
Tech.
for him.
But it was such an anchor for them. Exactly, Dor. They could rely on that and their no command stacks to constantly win rounds.
Incredible stuff from Hebron. They are our HSEL National Champions for Valorant, one of the mini games going on here at the HSEL Nationals. But what a finish. Our fall champions finish as your national champions, and we can't wait to see what is in store for this squad moving forward. On the other side, we also got to show a lot of love here to Brooklyn Tech. Door. This was the team, the young, scrappy sophomores getting the job done through the upper bracket. They were so close to tasting victory tonight. Unfortunately, they packed their bags as runner-ups.
Yeah, and I'm really glad we got to see them in the context that we did tonight, because yesterday felt like they came in well prepared and they blitzed out the opposing side. And it was an impressive display, but it wasn't them being pushed to the limit, and we really kind of only saw one dimension of Brooklyn Tech. Today, I feel like we really saw them from every different angle. We saw them have to counter strat. We saw them have to deal with being counter strat. We saw them have to deal with different agent picks, and we saw them walk in and really take control of a game very often where they weren't in control. And despite a rough second half there, I think I'll stand by the point that I made earlier. I think, we had the bonus round win in the second half there on a set, but I think the single most important round in that entire series was picking up the third round in the first half. It's not big score-wise, it's not big economy-wise, but mentally, man, it just felt like that one round, it pulled Hebron back in it, and all the edge that Brooklyn Tech had really built up kind of fell apart in that one round when Hebron just need that little bit to latch on to.
Well, there you have it. Hebron are able to walk away with the Valorant trophy. Jackson, of course, was one of our MVP candidates, and it's now time to award our MVP award. Now, Paul, we got to revisit this because we were looking beyond just in-game performance. This was everything you're doing in your community outside a game, your accomplishments in academics as well. Well, our winner tonight is walking away with a $1,000 scholarship and a brand new gaming PC from Asus. It's time to find out who is the 2022 MVP.
Hi, I'm CJ Forster. I'm a senior at Holy Name High School.
And why do you deserve to win MVP?
CJ was born on New Year's Day, 2004, in Fairview, Ohio, at Fairview Hospital.
And what was he like as a baby?
He was a busy child. We used to have gates, of course. You want gates in places to protect the child from going where they shouldn't be. He just scaled them.
About 4 years ago, we had a little esports place down the road call us and ask if we wanted to start up a program.
The first year he was in it, not as much. The second year was the year that they won their first championship.
We had new junior who became a senior that year, was our captain, and incorporated CJ, found out that CJ was actually a very good player.
With CJ, for all 3 years I played, I've won everything.
Something that he can hold on to and grab onto, he takes very, very seriously.
We clicked. We were actually like really good duo, I think.
Well-mannered from what everybody tells me when he's not here. And
he's a really funny kid, but he knows he has that switch.
And I run into somebody and they say, oh, I saw your son. I'm always like, and they're like, oh, no, he was so sweet. He was so nice. He gave me a hug.
CJ was one of the first players I had who took this so seriously.
I know he likes rock music. You can see how he was dressing with the Slipknot or whatever he was wearing. I don't know.
We talked about him, how he helps his teammates, how he helps some people in the communities.
He really showed me how dedicated that kids can be to esports, and that esports wasn't just an activity. Like, this is a varsity program.
I think I'm better than him at Warzone, though. He can have Rainbow, but Warzone, I think that's me.
He's a generational talent. We're just not going to see this again for probably ever. It could be never.
And why do you deserve to win MVP?
I'm at the top of my game. I'm at the top of my game.
Congratulations to our MVP, CJ Forster, tonight competing in the Rainbow Six National Championship. The senior adding another accolade to his incredible trophy case, taking home our $1,000 grand prize, as well as the brand new gaming PC to kick off college.
I mean, we saw the dude's accolades, right? He could barely fit them all in his arms, hugging those trophies, dude. Spring Major and Fall Major in 2019. Winter and Spring in 2020. Fall in 2021. And now he's got a chance at the national title, too. I mean, his esports accolades alone should put him in the running for MVP.
And we got to announce this, Door. We just got word. They just won the Rainbow Six National Championship.
Well done.
So
Way to
only
go.
fitting. Congratulations to the Green Wave, holy name, making waves again in Rainbow Six. They come out on top of another one.
So, well, more money on top of the MVP $1,000 and that Asus PC. It's so well earned. We saw the trophy cabinet. They're going to have to build one just for esports in their school. That might be the first one I've ever seen built for esports in a high school, which would be sick, by the way. Holy name, get on that, please. But we can't leave this without shouting out the other 4 MVP candidates, because every last one of them played their hearts out. We have Bello, Lions, Goofy, who we just saw take away a championship and look really, really good doing it. Pele, who we got to see just sparks from all weekend, whether it was that ace to finish out the one match or even the highlights that we got earlier today on Neon. Everybody played phenomenal, and it was so difficult for the admins to choose who this award was going to.
Incredible stuff. Shout out also to all of the coaches, everyone behind the scenes who nominated these players for the accolades. All of our candidates deserving of the honors, but it's CJ Forster who takes home the $1,000, the brand new gaming PC, and the title of HSEL MVP for 2022. Gentlemen, it's been an incredible weekend. I gotta say, this has been a blast. $150,000 up for grabs in scholarships across the country's greatest esports, and it's just the beginning here at the HSEL, Paul.
Oh, there's so much more action happening in the fall and the spring next year too, right? This is like the biggest high school event for esports ever. And it's all upwards from here, right? We had, what was it, 8 different titles competing this weekend for shares of that $150,000. I'm betting we're going to see more in the future. I'm betting that pool is going to increase more in the future too. I can't wait to see how high school esports develops more and more.
Well, this is just the beginning. We are taking things to the next level. I want to give a big shout out to everyone who joined us in the chat. Congratulations to the winners, especially my big giveaway winner, picking up the $50 bonus at the end of that game 3. That's going to do it for us tonight. Congratulations to all the schools who made it to nationals and, of course, our national champions. If you want to be a champion next year, make sure you sign up today. HighSchoolEsportsLeague.com is the place to be. We'll see you then.
Hi, I'm CJ Forster. I'm a senior at Hebron High School.
MVP.